Six pack Lapadat. We got a March Madness episode. Well, we're gonna do a quick and dirty on three competitions and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. But we'll focus on PA Nats and then Euros and the Arnold UK. And we'll talk about all the different highlights. And I mean, I've been super, I don't know about you guys. I think like most of us, three of the four of us are going to PA Nats. And I've been flying all over the place doing commentary as well as my day job and whatnot. So I don't think we're gonna go super deep in every single weight class. And some of these weight classes are, with all due respect, foregone conclusion. But we got a little bit to talk about. And there's a lot going on this March. And we might have some emerging stars, possible upsets. And it's a bit of a preview for the World Championships. So we'll start. Oh, by the way, it is Matt Gary, Adrienna Davis, and Mike Gold. And you guys are from, is it the future of powerlifting or just future of powerlifting?
Just
Just
future
future. Yeah.
powering.
I want to make sure we agreed. Just future powerlifting.
That's it. Drop the. Let's get right to the point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how long have you guys been doing
Exactly.
this podcast now?
It's still recent, just like a little over 2 months.
Like
How's
kind of
that
around
going, by the way?
December is when we started. Going good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
How
been
did you
binge listening to some episodes, so it's good stuff.
thank you.
Yeah.
how did you guys end up linking up getting this thing to go? Was it you first, Mike, and then you hopped on afterwards, Adriana?
Yeah, basically, I was initially gonna try to do some like shorter, like podcasts with just some of the top juniors, like from the rankings I made. But I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this myself, and it's just like time consuming. So then I asked Adriana if she was down to like come on to help me with the page and the podcast, and then we like kind of shifted exactly what we're gonna do with the podcast because just having like a lot of the same juniors like just ranking in order like just in a row would kind of get boring. So it's like a shift between just some strong lifters, different competitions, people that like previews, people that just competed, just whatever theoretically I would find interesting to listen to.
And Adriana, how did you get involved in all this? You like jumped in powerlifting full force, grabbed the hold of this thing, and like have completely immersed yourself in powerlifting.
I love it. That's why. I think just within the past year, especially, I mean, I fell in love with the sport when I got into it, like 4 years ago or whatever, 5 years ago. And I was just lifting. And then last year I got injured. What do I do then? So I just kind of like jumped more into it. I was already listening to all the KOTL podcasts. I was already watching all the big meets, like Worlds, getting super into it. I was like, what the hell? I'm gonna get more into it. So I kind of owe it to Mike. He asked me if I wanted to come help out. Um, start playing around with Photoshop, start playing around with trying to get videos out, and yeah, here we are.
Which one of you guys runs the Instagram page or both?
Yeah, we both
Both.
do. Oh, I should mention also, so we started, actually, we recorded a preview for Junior Worlds for Powerlifting America podcast that never got aired. That was actually when we did our first thing. Did you remember that when we did the preview for Powerlifting America?
Oh, you know what? We did a preview for one day, or it
Yeah,
was
yeah. Like,
supposed to be like
it was like a pregame show, like the same way we did
it
it
was
at
like a
Worlds, the
pregame show,
pregame
yeah,
show.
and
So
then
we did
never got
one
aired.
for Junior Worlds that never got aired.
And we had
I
good
mean,
conversations. So we were like, all right, when Mike asked me, hey, you want to help out? Sure, I'm already predicting worlds on my own. Why don't I actually do something with it?
the biggest thing, you just jump into the media and you start getting things done. Like Adriana, both you guys are sending collab invites to King of Lifts. Win-win. Sometimes you guys find people that I don't got an eye on, and all right, now help shed some light over to your page as well and grab the collab. And at other times, like for instance, Adriana, you're like, yo, let's put a fantasy league together real quick. How does that sound? Sounds good to me. It and pop in with Rory, and Rory does it usually for KOTL. So that's how you get things going. It's just jump in and start asking questions, and you find a need and plug it in for the community. So glad you guys are on. So how about this? Let's start with the men's. and we kind of work our way up. We'll take a look at what we got. We'll start with the 59s and work our way through the classes. And obviously, the 59s is home of Wasker, who's the returning world champion. I guess the biggest, obviously, he's so far ahead from everybody else in the 59s. It's going to be Wasker. How far do you guys foresee him taking his total? You
I'll
go
go
first,
first.
Matt. Can you go first, Matt?
Yeah.
Are you
Or
linked?
Yeah, I'm good. I can go.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'll speak on Waskar just because I'll be coaching him on game day, my wife and I, Susie. So we've teamed up with of course Steve Denovia is his coach. And yeah, Waskar, as we all know, last year at Worlds, he was literally a deadlift away from hitting the number that he needed to hit for Sheffield, which was, I believe, 637 or 637 and a half, which would have been 95% of the world record held by Sergey Fedosienko. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to make that final deadlift. And so he was just one lift away. So he has been on a mission ever since, training really, really hard. And it's been no secret that he did increase his own body weight up to as high as 70 kilos this past offseason. So if you can imagine a 59 kilo getting his body weight up to 70, and that's again, I can share that freely because that's been shared on other podcasts. But anyway, he's back down to where he needs to be, and his training is absolutely on fire. And he is coming in fully locked and loaded, guns blazing. And I'm just telling you right now, he's not holding back, and we're going to push on this meet. He's, I'm not holding him back. We're not holding him back, and it's our full intention for him to hit PBs in every single discipline. So you can fully anticipate and expect the best Waskar carpio that you've ever seen.
Adrienna, over or under? Wasker does 640.
I'll say over.
Mike, what do you think?
Honestly, oh wait,
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
For sure over. I think if he's actually going all out, which Matt said he is, I wasn't 100% sure. I think probably we're going to see like something in the 647 to 650 range, something like that.
Think so too, Adrienna?
I think so. Honestly, I mean, of course, we have the privilege of having Matt Gary on, who's coaching him and has that inside knowledge. So without that knowledge, I initially thought that he would be aiming to hit that Sheffield qualifying total, even though this meet wouldn't qualify him for Sheffield, but just to get revenge on that from Worlds. And I'll just say I'm super excited to hear that he's going all out, because
Yep.
some people in this meet, we'll get to them later, they don't need to go all out, and it's kind of like it's good to see them lift, but of course as fans we'd rather see the excitement, we'd rather see what you're capable of. So that's kind of what I was thinking, he would be around like 637 and a half. But to hear that he's trying to really go all out and he hit that 648.5 crazy total in the gym. So I think with the cut, I mean, obviously Matt has the inside info, but I think he's got to make a cut. That's no secret. So I think he can still bump over 640, but maybe just by a hair, maybe 642.5, or maybe he's got a chip in him with the deadlift.
I can't believe he gets up to 70 kilos. That's penna. That's insane.
Yeah, I don't think that was necessarily intentional. I think he kind of took it easy and,
But you don't wake up to one day at 70.
No, I know. And my
Those
man is
days
already,
accumulate.
yeah, my man is already jacked, to begin with. He's got a ton of muscle, but yeah, Steve and Marcellus kind of had to rein him in. Steve does his training, Marcellus does his nutrition. And so they kind of reined him back in and got him under control, so to speak. But it's no holds barred. You're going to see the best Waskar that you've seen to date, without giving you any specifics, but you're going to see
Marcellus
the best
does his nutrition. He's got his work cut out from when he checked in, and he's like, all right, what are we working with, man? What are we coming down from? And he's like 70. He'd be like, come again? Come again, my man. 70? All right.
Yeah.
Well, we had to start 3 weeks ago or 3 months ago, but all right. How about the 66s? when I look at the 66, this division's absolutely stacked. Now, maybe there's another showdown that's one-on-one that people are more excited for, but in terms of stacked, 1 through 5, 6, it is freaking insane what the 66ers are looking at. However, are we top heavy with Daniel Clements in there? Is it a flip? All right, Matt, jump in.
Yeah, we've got some breaking news. It's regrettably, I just want to inform your listeners that Daniel Clements is not going to compete. He sustained an adductor. Yeah, he has sustained an adductor injury. Yeah,
It
this is
changes
huge.
everything, not
It
just for
changed.
PA Nast, but for Worlds, everything.
No.
He would have been the favorite for Worlds.
I know. I found this out about 36 to 48 hours ago, and quite frankly, was absolutely gutted.
It's crazy.
And I reached out to Daniel, and I reached out to his coach, Matthew Holden, and I know that there was other podcasts that had dropped, obviously future powerlifting, and people are making their picks and predicting, obviously, that, that Daniel was the guy, and he was. I mean, look at that total. He'd hit 745 and a half and 745 on another occasion, and clearly had put the rest of the world on notice. And I think everybody was fully anticipating him to be the, just objectively the front runner here, and he was. But unfortunately, he sustained an adductor injury. I know that they tried to make a go of it this week. They went into the gym, and my understanding is that they tried to, see what he was capable of doing, and they just realized that it just wasn't sustainable. It wasn't doable. They were risking additional damage, and they weren't willing to take that risk. And I asked for their blessing, and they both gave it and said that I could kind of announce it and drop the news here on KOTL. So that's why I kind of held on to it until this point. So yeah, Daniel Clements is out. Will not be competing, unfortunately, at PA Nationals.
Repercussions to this is not just PA Nats, and that's huge enough, but for the picture at the Worlds, because he was probably everybody's favorite to win 66s. Stacked division. Tons of props for all of these gentlemen in the 66s at PA Nats. But Daniel Clements is 745 as a 66. Come on. I don't know a 66 alive who could do that. And for him, he's looking at Worlds, got to be the favorite. And as such, Sheffield afterwards.
I know.
In World Games, the impact of this single pullout of all years is Worlds, is Sheffield, is World Games, cannot be overstated how huge that is of a news. And he is as good a kid as you can ask, nice a guy as you can ask. Had him on the podcast before, talked to him. The tough thing about it too, in 2021, due to politics and wasn't about him, he missed Worlds that time as well. And it's a calamity of situations that's keeping him out of the World Championships, despite him being such a world-class lifter. And this is, I don't know, that's tough. That is, Adrienna, what's your impression here? What are you thinking?
I mean, the impact cannot be understated. That, like, if you had video up on Spotify listening, we were all shocked when Matt dropped that. It's a shame, really, because he was honestly the shoe-in. I mean, it would have been still a battle because he has had inconsistencies in the deadlift, so there were still question marks there. But with the pulling power he has, that's a big news for the other competitors. Because they're all so close. They're all within 12 and a half kilos of each other on nominated total. So that makes it even more exciting, honestly. Unfortunately, too, for Daniel, because I mean, I just hope that, I don't know what he's going to do going forward, if he returns to USAPL Nationals or if he just takes the year off, maybe does one of the SBD meets, like he could potentially get a wild card for that Raleigh meet or the Texas meet in November. But it's just really, that's that's a big shame for him, especially because it's the first year to qualify for World Games too.
Mike, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's just really rough. First, we had Brian drop out, which I know was really rough for him because obviously he wanted to defend his national title and then have a shot to actually take the world title this year. And like his training had been going the best it ever had. So he was like, he sent me some of his lifts and like he put up, not that he necessarily could replicate in a comp, but he put up like a 740 training total.
Mm.
So he was like,
Brian Lee dropped out. This is news for me now. Holy smokes!
Yeah, he's
He
Look,
dropped
I'm
out
getting
maybe a couple weeks ago.
okay. Holy shit! I'm getting bombarded here with information. I need a minute to
Yeah.
digest all this. All right, Rig, that sucks.
so yeah. So I mean, and now Daniel, who obviously like just putting together his actual like he's put multiple performances that no one's come close to. So it sucks that he's losing his chance. It will definitely make it a little more interesting because while this is going to be like inherently one of the best like battles and just like amount of competitors that have the ability to total around the world record or above, the way I had viewed it before finding out this news was I really thought that there were only two competitors that on their best day could challenge like a decent day from Daniel. Whereas now I think it kind of opens it up to even the people that are a little bit below that, meaning at this point we're down from the original 7 to I would say 5, but all 5 of them are now within reason that like if one of them has like if one of the lower ones has their best day and then one of the top 2 who I would have now as Morgan and Jonathan don't have their best day, that they could all possibly win now, which will definitely make it super duper interesting.
It's for sure flip a coin at this point. I mean,
I wouldn't give everyone the same odds, but yeah, they all have a realistic chance. Like we're not talking like 1%. Everyone there is coming with a shot of winning.
so who do you think is, if we swing around this, at the forefront now in the 66s?
So I would have my 2 favorites as Morgan and Jonathan. So Morgan obviously has the biggest total like in comp of the remaining people. He's beaten Daniel before, and he hasn't competed. Like I mean, he did a competition recently, but like he was out of it for like a year with injury, but he's back and he looks like probably strong as ever, if not stronger. And then Jonathan, his best comp total is only like I think 703, but his training has looked phenomenal. Like he posted a 285 kilo squat, which is obviously insane, way over his own world record. Now, even if he doesn't replicate that, which would be difficult to replicate, the bigger thing for me is not even the squat, it's his deadlift. So his deadlift PR in comp is 257.5. He recently posted a 265 that moved easily and he was able to hold it. That's like one of his big issues on deadlift is just he has like very small hands and it's just difficult for him to like hold on to heavy deadlifts. Just so the fact that he can do 7.5 kilos over his best competition deadlift, like very smooth, no slowing down, no grip issues, no anything. Like it would be a very easy 3 white light lift that like has more in the tank. I don't know how much more, but definitely a little bit of room. So I think he's capable of potentially putting up something like a huge, like something like a 20 kilo total PR.
That would be massive. If he put on 20 kilos on top of 703, that is huge. But again, it all comes down to that deadlift. He has historically struggled with keeping because he's got small fingers. Adrienna, what are your thoughts on the 66s now that you hear this?
I
Who
mean,
do you think is emerging as the favorites in that podium looking?
honestly, my first thought is kind of the same as Mike with his training recently in Jonathan Garcia, but this like really opens the door to the other competitors. I haven't looked too much at the other competitors training, but there's Morgan. I think all of them have question marks, which makes it so close and so interesting to watch. Like Morgan, he's coming back from injury. We don't know like really how his training's been going good, but we'll just have to see. And then Jonathan's got the crazy training, but he did post on his story he's got to make the cut, kind of like Panda. I think he weighs like 69 or so. That might have come down since then. and then Charlie Yang and Austin Nikolai. I haven't looked too much at Charlie's training, and then Austin hasn't really been posting too much, but he could be hiding his stuff too. He's really young. I think he's 20 or even 19, which is
Yeah.
insane to think about that he's totaling within 10 kilos of the world record. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
And then there's Rodrigo Manzo, who just totally got a little blurry here. Let me fix my lighting. Yikes. All right. Do I look like a freaking am I totally washed out here with the all right, there we go. And then there's Rodrigo Manzo, whom he's struggled with the performances, but he's like back in I think it was 2019 or around there, was the USCPL champion. And but he seems to be putting it together all over again. So I don't know what to make of him. Matt, what do you think now that Daniel Clements is out?
Yeah, I'm not going to pick a winner, but so I want to draw attention to all of these lifters. I don't know that I have a whole lot to add around what Mike and Adrienna say, but I will say this. Morgan Aquino is coached by Alfred Jean of Reformance. That's Kedrick Kwan's partner. Rodrigo Manzo is going to be coached by myself and Susie, SSPT. You got Arian Kamesi coaching Jonathan Garcia. You got Joseph Franzo, Joey Flex, coaching Austin Nikolai, and Joe Stanek coaching Charlie Yang. And I spoke to Joe Stanek earlier today, said that Charlie has had the best prep of his entire life. And so we anticipate seeing the best package from him. The only reason that I mentioned the coaches here is because now that Daniel and Brian are out and we've got these 5, I don't think it's ever going to be more incumbent upon the lifters to execute and the coaches to coach. And so this is going to come down to which lifter is going to make the most attempts and execute, when it matters most, and which coaches are going to be making the right calls at the appropriate times and making sure that their lifters don't tip over. We understand everything that you've said about Jonathan and making weight, and he's going to have the biggest subtotal, but, and so on and so forth. And I'll just say this, Rodrigo doesn't want to be counted out, and I'm happy that I'm coaching Rodrigo because he has the biggest deadlift. So just keep that in mind. And his prep has gone really, really well. And so he and Charlie of the remaining 5 have the biggest deadlifts. And so that's a weapon that is nice. That's a nice ace card to have up your sleeve. And so, it's really going to come down to which lifters are going to go out there and engineer victory from building a total and just stacking attempts on top of each other and not getting out of pocket and not getting carried away. That's why I don't anticipate necessarily the totals that they are capable of. I mean, these lifters might need to stretch, but I'm not anticipating these humongous 730, 740 totals that some of the people are talking about. I'm anticipating totals that are lower. I think we'll have some people that go over 700. We may have some who don't even get to 700. Right. But it's just really going to be incumbent upon executing and making the right calls. And so there's no place I'd rather be than right there on that platform during this session in the mix.
People often just take personal bests, add them up, and be like, that's the total they're going to hit. That's almost never the case when you watch powerlifting. But so Morgan, obviously when he won the USCPL Nats previously, I mean, he's a monster. He can put together a big total. Jonathan Garcia is the subtotal king. It's the deadlifts that sometimes plague him, but he hits a big deadlift in training. I don't know if he had squatted bench previous to that, so we'll have to see. Rodrigo has all the talent in the world. It's all about game day. If he could put it together on game day. And there's like he has before, and he's won national titles. All these guys have won national titles. I mean, it's crazy the resumes. And then Austin, who at 19 totaled 702.5. I realize he was a 66 point something, but he was 19, totaling over 700. He 100%. And now that he's in his 20s. I mean, the guy can't even buy freaking alcohol where you guys live. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? He probably gets ID'd when he goes to an R-rated movie. And he's totaling over 700 kilos already. So if he could put it all together, and it's difficult to say because not all these guys are showing all of their training. So we're going off of a lot of potential. But now that Daniel's gone, I don't know. Look, for sure, some people might like you could lean towards Morgan and Jonathan as the at the forefront. But if you told me 20-year-old Austin from 19 when he did 72.5 to now might total beat those guys, I wouldn't be floored. Or Manzo finally had the day that he was capable of all this time, and because Matt Gary's handling him doesn't fumble the ball, I wouldn't be floored. This is good. This is a good weight class. What do you
Yeah,
think, Mike?
actually, one thing I didn't know that Matt added was with the Charlie thing that he said he spoke to Joe Stanek and Joe said he had the best prep. Because when I was looking like on his page and stuff, I saw a bunch of things about him being sick, recovering from COVID, and then like not really a lot of like top end posts. So I just wasn't sure if he was coming in 100% or even if he was 100% now, like how much of a prep he had. But if it sounds like he had his best prep, then yeah, he's definitely up there. Also, he's a great lifter and he executes very well. So if without Daniel and if he actually like had a full prep, which I had not known, then he's just as much in that mix because we're not
100.
looking at like we're not looking at like that's somebody trying to chase like a 730 total from Daniel. It's more like who can get. I don't think somebody's going to win with 700, but like it's probably around the lines of what the world record is now. So like somewhere between 710, 715, I think probably will end up being what wins. And if he's healthy and had a good prep, then he's right there, and so is everyone. So yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably end up with a podium over 700, and whoever goes 9 for 9 and can pull what's needed, it'll be definitely very interesting to watch.
So Charlie's also hit 702.5. And let me say, there were rumors. So I've been doing commentary and I've been out and about hearing rumors about freaking Charlie as well. I don't know. It's some, I don't know. I don't know when to anticipate, but this is an interesting one. This might be one of the more interesting ones now that it was interesting when Daniel was still in because Daniel, you got to perform, right? And if Daniel misses a couple lifts ever, or the deadlift doesn't show up, the door swings wide open. But
I,
whew, wow, look at
yeah,
Matt. I'm glad you dropped this. First off, Playboy, you got the first soundbite. I'm cutting this up, leaving out who pulled out, and dropping our reactions. Everybody's like, well, I guess I'm listening to that podcast. That's how it's done. But, anyways,
Also, just keep in mind, just we can kind of close on this. One of the things that's going to really make the whole gamesmanship fun is like you said, or like Mike alluded to, is just execution it needs to be at an all-time high, so it needs to be pristine. Attempt selection is needs to be important, and we're going to have chips in play, right? So the American record, Jonathan Garcia is 275.5. Presumably that'll be in play for him. Perhaps his bench as well is 173. I think the only one that's probably not going to be in play is that deadlift, which is Brian Lee's got a 318.5 pull. So that's, might be unlikely that somebody's going to tip above the 318.5, but there's going to be chips in play. Lot numbers are going to be important. And I'll just say this about Rodrigo. He was training at a lot closer to body weight. So the cut is a lot easier for him this time. So, and he brought Susie and I on board about a month or two ago, and we've been following him closely, and he's looking good. So we're excited. This is going to be a real clash. A lot of fun to watch.
yeah, we're moving into the 74s. Oh, sorry, Adrian, do you want to add
Oh
something on
yeah,
that?
I guess I just wanted to add too that what makes it all the more interesting is that we're not gonna have those absolutely insane pullers because Brian Lee, Daniel Clements dropped out. They both had the capability to pull over 700 pounds. So we kind of knew that, hey, at the end of the day, they would have loaded up whatever was needed for the win. Like, even if it was, I don't know, 330, something like that, 330 kilograms. And now we've got, like Matt said, Charlie and Rodrigo as the front runners in the deadlift, but they're close. And like Matt said, it's going to come down to lot number and to body weights and also to execution. So it's always fun to have the big deadlifter in there, but it also makes it really interesting when you don't have the superpower deadlifter in there, and it kind of makes it even more close.
going into the 74s, I think we pretty much all know who's going to take this one. But quick question for you. As we swing around the table, over or under 850? Mike, what do you think?
I think under. I think he's gonna push squat, but I don't think he's gonna go all out on bench and deadlift. I hope on. I think he's. I'm thinking he might try to squat 700 and try to total 839 at 74 because he broke Taylor's, but he did it at 75. So maybe just chip that at 74 just for some fun, and then call that a day.
It's got to be said. Good point. Officially, he hasn't broken Taylor Atwood's 74 kilo record. And that's a good point. Maybe this is what he's going to do because Taylor did it at national level. Matt, what do you think?
I'll say under 851. We all know that he's capable of much higher than that. And I just will read you what Joe Stanek told me. He said, I can promise, barring a disaster, that Austin will be going for the first 700-pound squat as a 74. So that's on the table. I straight from Joe. I texted him earlier. He said that I could share that on the podcast. So anticipate seeing 318 at minimum go on the bar for Austin's third attempt. I mean, if you've been following him, in his training, I mean, we just saw him double 310. And, that's the first time, honestly, that 310 squat where I actually saw him work a little bit. And I mean that respectfully. That's a compliment. That's not, that's not a criticism. It's just the first time that I've seen anything get sticky for him because he's such a violently explosive lifter. But yeah, so I anticipate the big squat, but I don't think he needs to go all out on the other two lifts. Just secure the W and then just get ready for Worlds.
Oh man, Matt, coming through with the breaking news, huh? Checking in with people and catching. All right. What do you think, Adrienna?
I was trying to think over the past few minutes what I would pick. I'll say over just to be different. And also for the
I
fact
respect it.
that he can't really push all the way at Worlds because he's got to think about Sheffield. And of course, he's going to have lifters coming after him. He's got Callie, he's got Tim, he's got Shell, among others. So he's going to have to put up over 800 for sure at Worlds, which is currently the world record total. But I don't think he'll be trying to blow it out of the water. Just thinking about he's going to want to win Sheffield and play it strategically. So I think this meet could actually be the one for him to maybe not push all the way, but show that 850 it's a breeze for him. He could squat 700. We all know that's the goal for him. And he could put up just somewhere around what he's done in the bench and deadlift, and I think still break his past total, so set a PR, but just barely. Just kind of to show that 850 is nothing for him.
Here's something to keep in mind too. If he doesn't go all out, he's not going to go all out at Worlds because why would he shoot himself in the foot for Sheffield? And he's probably not going to compete in between Worlds and Sheffield. So he's essentially saying from September 2023 to March, February 2025, I'm not going to PR my total. And so that's a long stretch for a young ass man in his prime. Go ahead, Mike.
I mean, if I was Perk, what I would do is have a chill day at nationals, go to that SBD money meet where you can't set international world records, go win that and take the cash there, and then go to Worlds, have another chill day, and then go to Sheffield and take your money.
I don't know
Like
how often
he
you must.
already did. Yeah.
I don't know how often you must compete, but you're right. But how much money is on the line at that money meet?
I'm not sure, but presumably based off who's doing, like, we're not talking about him going out and taking an RP10 like day to take the money. Like, so you probably can just have like a heavy, like an RP8 SBD day or something like that.
Here's what I'm thinking. He shows up. He becomes the first 74 to hit 700 pounds. He achieves his goal. And then they go in the back room and it dawns on him, holy shit, I love this. I'm in the moment. The crowd's going nuts. Everyone's going wild. And the best laid plans go right out the window. And my man's like, we're going to go full send. And he shows everybody what his true worth is because he knows in his heart of hearts, he's not doing anything in between worlds. And now he's not doing anything in between worlds in Sheffield. And he wants to drop the hammer. I could see that possibly happening. I think he's got plans not to, but I have heard people talk about RPE 8 days before, and then I've seen them go all out. And then I've seen them even afterwards try to tell me they weren't going all out when they damn sure were dropping the hammer, putting the foot on the gas. But who knows? Maybe by the time Deads rolls around, his back's a little cooked, and he decides, yeah, we'll leave it there. But I'm intrigued. Look at a 700-pound squat by 74. That's good. That'll quench my thirst, but I'm thirsty for a little more. If he's going to give me a little more, I'll tell you that right now. All right. How about the 84s? Return of the King, Russell, or he?
83s.
Sorry, or 83. Sorry.
83.
I didn't realize I said 84s, Matt. And I swear to God, when you open your mouth about to say something, I was going to say, please, Matt, don't fucking tell me. Matt, don't tell, because as soon as you lean forward, I was like, stop, stop right in my heart. I feel like I got breaking news about Russell Orhe. I go, that's it. Well, we're done. That's it. I'm closing my laptop. So Return of the King, Russell Orhe, obviously the heavy favorite here. Everybody knows what Delaney did at Sheffield, and it's a respectable 842.5. Russell can't walk in here and fumble the ball and just walk away with a win here. Whether Angelo or Chris do 820 to 830 range, and they've done around the 820 range, both of them, and probably can PR and push that up another 10 kilos, but that's still below the 840 and up range, which Delaney is. That marker right there means Russ can't come in here injured. Russ can't come in here missing all types of squats and almost bombing out on depth or something and finally squeaking one in like he did one nationals, or Russ has got to do it. Russ can't have bad lockouts on his deadlifts. He's going to have to actually have a decent meet here. And so I am happy that Delaney did what he did at Sheffield. Now, having said that, and we'll talk about Angelo and Chris, because that's a great battle, and both those guys are lifting well, and they can push their numbers as well. And they're world class. But let me ask you about Russell Orhe right now, as I swing around the table. Russ has done some big talking, and Russ has done some big walking in the gym anyways. He is clapping them kilos in the gym. Disrespectfully. Sorry, Adrienna, there's a woman on this podcast. I don't normally talk like that, but it is what it is. 870 over under. Mike, you go first.
Ooh,
that's a high bar. I know.
It's a good line to put because
that's a line to put. Yeah,
I think he's capable of doing 870 definitely. Do I think he will 870? 330. I'll take the 870, including 870 and up. I'll take it.
Because he's going all out. Just so let's be clear here. He hasn't lifted in a hot minute, and he's going to make a statement. And he's had to hear everybody talk and everybody walk, and he's been waiting. Adrienna, what do you think? 870. Does he hit 870 and up or under 870?
I just did some math. And of course, it's tough. You can't just do math. It's different than that.
Right.
I'll take it. I'll say 870 and up. I think just barely over. You know what? Nah, I'll change my mind. I'll say under. I think he totals in the 860s. Well, maybe I'll change my mind again. I'm gonna say over. I'm gonna say over.
You were going to. You were. I can see in your face the wheels turning.
It's
like,
tough.
But damn,
it's tough.
Damn
because
the freedom hold he had on his deadlift that one.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I was thinking, I was like, well, there's depth, there's the holds, there's his bench. I don't know if he'll be around that 200 mark again. Just because the cut, or excuse me, he actually hasn't hit 200. He's hit 195, but he is going all out, like you said, and I think it might be kind of the same story as I was saying with Austin, because he's going to Worlds. he's got people to push him. He's got Jurens, who we'll see what we'll get to that later. We'll see what he does.
Yeah.
He's got an Ahoro, but he's gonna be the heavy favorite at Worlds, and he's not gonna want a total 870 plus at Worlds. So what the heck? I'll say yes. I'll say yes. And he executes. Like, yeah, we can say he sometimes drops his deadlifts in the gym. Yeah, we can say his depth kind of looks funky, but at the end of the day, he's been competing for almost a decade, and he always gets it done. Um, he always gets it done, and he executes. Like he hasn't missed a third squat since 2018. So
Is that right?
I
Oh
think
my
he's got it.
gosh.
Except his qualifying meet, but yeah, he hasn't missed third squat since 2018.
What do you think, Matt?
I'll just be the
870 up?
contrarian. I'll just be the contrarian and say under. Yeah, I had him finishing 860 to 870 is kind of my prediction. I know he's still got some kilos to cut. I know he's close. He's made this cut more gradual. So it's not drastic. I'm sure he's got all that stuff dialed in, and he's on point, and he's as strong as he has ever been at this body weight. And I know that he's capable. I just don't think that he will. I think I'll go under just to be the adversary in this group, and hopefully that pours some fuel on his and he knocks it out of the park. So yeah, he's capable.
He's a guy like
but I'll
he's a
say
guy
under.
like Penna that he gets fueled by this, man.
Oh no, I know he does. I know. Yep.
He loves it. Okay. I think he's going over 870. But this is he's just I think the biggest thing with him is he gets all 3 squats in. He's rocking and rolling. His top end squat.
Oh,
If he
yeah.
gets his last squat in, that's a wrap. We're going over 870. Because his hold on the deadlifts was the big thing. For a hot minute there, he was loading up like crazy and putting it down before he would probably get the down command, and he wasn't fully locked, etc. a couple times. He cleaned that up, and his that last pull, that 350, oh my gosh. And the freedom hold at the end, I swear to God, I heard an eagle cry in the background. He held that for a hot minute, and I think 870's going to be there on the day. So, and yeah, he can't go all out at Worlds. He's going to save that for Sheffield. And as we see him with the last Sheffield, he'll be a threat at Sheffield. Perk, and now Clements isn't going to be there, conceivably, unless he finds some other way to make it to Sheffield, which is very difficult. Usually, if you hit Nash, you got to hit at least Nationals. I don't know how Clements would probably get there. Whatever.
Yeah,
There's
I don't want to speak out of turn. I mean, there's other look, if he could do another meet and somehow make it on an NAPF team and do an international or something like that, and potentially hit a world record at an NAPF, then we're talking about maybe he gets a wild card. But all that's a lot of ifs.
It's too much right now because we don't know how injured he is.
Grenades. Yeah.
Right. We don't know how injured he is and how he makes it onto a team and what that looks like, but which is, anyways, still boggled by. So he's a threat for potential Sheffield or something, depending on, I don't know how much he could blow up his total by then. Anyways, let's talk about Chris and Angelo, because this is a very tight battle with these two gentlemen jockeying for position on that podium. They're too far behind to catch Russ, unless one of you guys is going to get crazy on me and predict one of them's going 870. But what are we thinking here? What are your guys' thoughts on this battle, which is turning into a bit of a rivalry in LA?
I mean, I have them both in like a very similar range where like the best day they could ever possibly have would probably put them right below what Delaney did. So like I have them probably going like 825 to 840 on their best day. So I don't think either of them can pass Delaney. So I don't think either of them could potentially get the spot, even if something happened to Russ. And I think between the two, I'm just going to go with I would go with Chris over Angelo, even though Angelo has the deadlift advantage, just because they squat around the same, and Chris like benches legitimately like 30 kilos more than Angelo, and I don't think Angelo has 30 kilos more on his deadlift than Chris. So I think I'll give Chris like a slight advantage, assuming he executes.
What are you thinking, Adrienna? Oh, Matt, you want to go?
I might let Matt go.
Yeah, no,
Okay, you go first.
I'll just go ahead and say I'll just take the opposite view that Mike said. I think they're both capable of that 830 to 840 ish range. But I'll just flip it and go with the bigger deadlifter. Again, Joe Stanek just told me, he's got an 800 pound. Angelo's got an 800 pound deadlift in him. So, I mean, Russ would have to make some significant mistakes and miss probably 2 lifts or something along those lines, which I do not anticipate Russ doing. But if he were to slip, then Angelo could be in a position where he could load up at the end, because I think he's got an 800 pound, a 362, a 365 potentially deadlift in him. So I'll just go with what Mike said in terms of total, in terms of potential. Chris does have that bigger bench. We might see an American record in the bench. I don't know. That might be a reach. Delaney's got it at 207.5. I don't know if Chris can stretch quite that far, but he's really, really close. I coached him last year at USA Nationals, in Memphis. But Angelo being the bigger deadlifter, I'll just flip what Mike said. I'll take Angelo 2 and probably Chris 3rd. Yeah.
What do you think, Adrienna? Pretty much echoing what these guys already said.
Yeah, pretty much. Am I allowed to give my picks? I'm not commentating.
I was gonna
that
say I'm
session.
not putting you on a spot for a pick if you're commentating. I don't give picks when I commentate.
But I'm not
unless
commentating that session. I'm just a spectator.
In terms of allowed, keep in mind you can do whatever you want. I usually just don't, but unless it's like a blatant, somebody's way a freaking head and
Right.
whatever. But it's in those
Yeah.
tight races that I try not to if I'm
Okay.
commentating.
I
But yeah,
won't, just to be professional. We're amping up the professionalism in the sport. But I'll say that I think a lot of people are sleeping on Chris just because he posts his training, but I don't think he posts his top end training as much, or I think potentially his training just isn't as top end. I think it's usually sub max, and that's just speculation, just based on what he's posting on Instagram. But he put up I think around 790 SBD day in the gym, and it was super easy. And I think at Raw Nationals where Matt was coaching him, if he missed his 3rd squat and he unfortunately missed his 3rd deadlift. If he had gotten those 2 lifts, he would have hit 830 at that meet. And that's been some time. I think he's made some progress since then. So I'll go. Wait, I'm not giving my picks, but I'm a spoiled. I think I did. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there.
You're a terrible poker player. We know what your pick is, but that's fine. Moving right along. God bless. So let's move into the 93s. This one is a battle. If I gotta be honest, it's not stacked like the 66s or probably even the 83s. I mean, 83s, 3 of those guys are world class. You send those 383s, 3 of those guys could podium potentially. But when you look at the 93s, this is a head-to-head showdown, and there's some question marks. So Brendan Petrie, tons of hype on Brendan Petrie. But it's at a lower weight class. If we throw 3 kilos on him, what does his total do? Does it shoot up? Some people it shoots up. Some people doesn't necessarily shoot up like you think it does. Some people, when they cut, their totals don't move quite like you think it might. And there's some historical data points you could glean from that. Or maybe it does. There's a lot of hype on Brandon. And sometimes he lives up to the hype, sometimes he doesn't as well. Same thing can be said for Gavin. A lot of hype on Gavin, sometimes lives up to the hype, sometimes he doesn't as well. And the question marks around him, now he just competed at Sheffield. Here we are 4 weeks later, but he's looking good in training. And he looks no worse for wear. It came on the KO2 podcast. He does not sound like he's worn down, out of energy, lacking confidence. He sounds like he's ready. And with Gavin, if his bench press is there, you could see the pathway for him to out total Keiko. The total that Keiko hit at Sheffield. Obviously, Keiko's not physically there, but Keiko's, what is that? Is it 893? It was 893, right?
Yep.
You could see a pathway for him to do that. He just needs his bench to go up and not go up a lot either. Let me ask a couple questions here. I got a couple questions for you guys. We'll swing around the table on this one. Maybe we'll start with Matt. Matt, are you comfortable A, giving your pick, and B, telling me over or under Keiko's number for both gentlemen?
Eesh. I don't know that I want to make a pick. Yeah, I mean, because honestly, it's a coin toss. I really do think this is a coin toss because you can make valid arguments for either lifter. Yeah, this is a race to making 9 attempts, in my opinion. That's what it is. They just have to make 9 lifts. So I think it's a race to going 9 for 9. And if they go 9 for 9, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, well, and both these guys struggle to go 9 for 9, which ironically.
Yeah, I would say Gavin's probably a little bit more consistent, especially as of late, than Brandon. And I know Brandon has struggling to do the weight cuts down to 90 kilos and would oftentimes make the statement that he didn't feel like his legs were under him during the squats, couldn't recomp well enough, couldn't recomp fast enough. So I'm just hoping that his cut is not as drastic. And we all know that, that Gavin had a significant cut going into Sheffield, but clearly made it work because he squatted the world record. So yeah, and his trainings look good. I mean, so I just think, I mean, this is a coin toss. Brandon's got the lot number advantage, but that's not going to matter because presumably he's going to pull after Gavin. But I honestly think this is a race to 9 attempts. The first person to miss an attempt, and if one of them misses a squat, that could be it. I mean, it's just, yeah, they have to make lifts. They can ill afford. I mean, the only miss that either one of them could probably sustain and come back from is potentially like a third bench or something like that. But I don't think either one of these guys can miss otherwise. And I think if they go 9 for, I mean, look, they're shooting, for Keiko's total, and because he's the man who's resting on his total. We don't know if he's made a final decision or if he hasn't announced it yet, but we've got an 893. So it's a race to 893 plus, but it's also, in my opinion, a race to 9 attempts. And I think if they make 9, they beat Jonathan's total. And if they don't, man, it's going to be tough sledding.
Let me ask you this. Does one of them, and this isn't a pick, I'll ask one of them, does one of them beat Keiko's total? I'm asking you, Matt. What do you think?
I'll say yes.
Does his name start with G or with B? How many syllables? All right.
Right. Is there an A in his first name?
Is there an A in his first name? Can I buy a vowel? All right. Fair enough.
Man.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
So the way I view this is like I can see any of the possible outcomes happening. I mean, I could see an outcome where they both fall short of Keiko. I could see an outcome where they both just slightly pass Keiko. Mm-hmm. And I could see an outcome where one of them passes and one of them doesn't. So I don't think either of them have like a top end that's like significantly higher than 893. Like I don't see either of them like totaling like 905. Right. So the question is like Matt was saying, like they have to hit 9 attempts and if anything, maybe a third bench. So neither of them hit 9 go 9 for 9 that frequently. But I think if Gavin ever has his chance, this might be it, just because every time he's ever in a battle, he's always pulling first. And while he's still pulling first here between him and Petrie, at least now he knows exactly what he needs to pull for 893.5 or whatever it is. Yeah, I'll have the chip on squat. So he needs to pull for that number. So while that doesn't guarantee him, even if he hits that, because it'll still be Petrie will have the ability to load, it helps a little bit that he knows what to hit. I'm going to lean and say I think there's over a 50% chance one of them hit. But if I had to pick whether Gavin, Keiko, or Petrie is the one to represent, I would say Keiko has a slight, I would say 40% chance neither of them hit, and then literally a split between Gavin and Petrie. So I'm slightly above 50% chance that one of them breaks it. And if they do, honestly, either of them, I don't have one of them as a favorite over the other.
I was trying to work out my math percentages on how to interpret what you'd given me, but I think I got you. So, Adrienna, what are you thinking?
Hey, I'll just say yesterday on the podcast, Mike was giving his percentages for a class, and he said 40%, 30%, 40%, 20%. I was like, what?
40% to 20%.
Whoa! I did not do
He's
that. I
giving
did not
himself
do the
I
wiggle
math
room.
you
wrong.
you clearly
He's
went
giving
like
himself wiggle room is what he's doing, and I respect that because I'll
Nah.
do the same thing. I'll do
I
the
don't I
same
don't
thing.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but I was sitting here, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's like 150%, but we'll just move on. We'll just move on. Anyways, I don't have too much to add. There's big question marks with both of them. It's really tough for Kaiko to not be there. He's just got his total there. Because if he were there, it'd be such a different story. He's the executioner. He always goes 8 or 9 for 9, whereas the other two kind of sometimes fumble. But he's not there. He's just got his total. Gavin, his squats have been looking great lately, and we don't know if Sheffield was a one-off thing because he did go 2-1 on his last squat, and it just didn't get overturned by the jury. So we'll see. I think he does need to hit somewhere around what he did at Sheffield. So we'll see how that goes. And he's got his bench too. He's got his bench. If he can bring that up, like Six was saying. And then Petrie, he doesn't post too much. He's always kind of in the shadows. He hasn't competed since September, whereas Gavin, of course, just competed 4 weeks ago. He's had time to build. And he's built into the weight class. His qualifying meet, he weighed in at 97. So he's gained back some weight. Yeah, he's gained back some weight there. And of course, that could have been after eating breakfast, drinking, whatever.
Oscar tips his hat.
Yeah, exactly. But Petrie, I won't give my pick, but he's a nice guy. And he's potentially moving to the Carolinas. That's
You're
where
so
I'm from.
bad at not giving your pick, but giving your pick.
And I will say, he's got crazy deadlift. Some people are sleeping on his deadlift. He's got a deadlift, I think right near the world record that Chance Mitchell still holds. So
yeah,
he's gonna load up no matter what at the end, and we'll see. We'll see if he hits it.
Here's a couple things that I think need to be considered when talking about the 93s. A, you guys are talking about strategy in a rational sense in terms of Gavin beating 893. My friends, Gavin doesn't give a fuck about 893. He's going all out. What he thinks his PR is that day is what he's going to shoot for that day. If his handler's on a pathway, I think he's going. I think they're like, well, this is what you need to beat 893. He's like, but this is what I think I have today. So loading. And this is what we're going to go. And because he knows he's finishing first. He knows that his day is going to finish before Brendan Petrie's. I just knowing Gavin, and I think if you guys were handling him, it'd make total sense. And if you guys told me this is the plan, I would tell you guys that's a good plan. Beat Keiko's number and put the heat on Brendan to have to do the same right after you. And only, oh, by the way, a slightly more. But there's a chance he's just going to be like, I'm going 100%. This is exactly actually what he said on the podcast. I'm going 100%. And if I go 100%, I don't think anybody in the world can beat me. So that's what I'm going to do. And he's a wild horse. That's why everyone loves Gavin Hayden. He's like a wild horse you can't tame or you can't, So anyways, having said that, Brendan, on the flip side, the hype around him is also, he's buying into his own hype, which just like Gavin, as a 90, he was talking about going, was it 815, 915? As a 90 kilo lifter. That's what he thought he had in his back pocket as a 90. He's a 93 now. I don't know if he's also pacing for 893. If I'm honest, I would, and the people around him, Bob Matthews from the same camp was talking like Petrie's going to literally blow something up. I don't know if this is just talk, if he's giving hype to like mid 900s or whatever. It's crazy. It's not going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. And I don't think Petrie's thinking that's going to happen either. But if he's surrounded by people saying, man, you got a huge total in you, and he thinks, man, I got a huge total in me, this is how maybe he does. But you can also load up too much, miss some lifts. And this is how both Gavin and Brendan, and it makes them so intriguing, so amazing to watch, so entertaining. The fact that both these guys are going head to head, it makes it actually better viewing and sports viewing. But both these guys aren't they're going all in, I think. I don't know if I think they'll pace for over 900, regardless if it's there that day. We're going to find out. And there will be misses in terms of the 9 for 9 thing. I think I don't know. It's going to be a wild shootout. They're going to look at each other like two gunslingers and pull. And there's going to be bullets flying. Go ahead, Matt.
I just want to add a couple more things. And that was one of the reasons that I said, in my view, it's a race to 9 attempts. It's a race to 9 for 9. Gavin clearly has the advantage in the squat. He just squatted the world record, and that was Sheffield with travel, with a cut, all of those things. So I'm stacking that in favor of Gavin. He can squat more than 337. He's probably good for 340 plus on home turf, home soil. I'm sure he let his weight creep up a little bit, after Sheffield, but presumably not as much. Maybe he kept it a little bit closer to 93 kilos. So it's when you look at the difference between their squats and the differences in their deadlifts, there's a similar margin there. And then the bench is kind of a wash, right? The bench is within 5 kilos. That's why I said they've got to make 9 attempts. They can't go to sleep on bench press, and they have to make all 3 benches. So look, if they both go 9 for 9, then I'm going to have to side with the bigger deadlifter just because, Petrie's the bigger deadlifter. But that's what you can't miss. You can't miss. Both of these guys have, we all know they have 900 plus capability. Petrie totaled 895 at the Virginia Pro. That was weighing 93.8. And that was with a missed third squat and so forth. So, we understand the data. We understand what all that says, but you've got to go out there and execute. And so to your point, I think Gavin will push it on the squat, and I think this is the right time to do it. He's going to need it, but you can't slip. The first one who misses is in big trouble.
Yeah. But I would not be surprised if they both miss.
Yeah,
That's where it gets evened out.
And that's why I said it's literally, in my view, a coin toss. And the only reason that I would pick Petrie if they both go 9 for 9 is because he's the bigger deadlifter. Having said that, Gavin's 345 at Sheffield looked comfortable. There's more there. There's more meat on the bone. So I would anticipate him having to pull more than 345. So we're talking 350 plus on his third one. So just go 9 for 9, guys. Let's see it. That's what we want.
Here's the thing too. Like if they're like both 7 for 9, but Brendan pulls last, or they're both 6 for 9, but Brendan pulls last. It's the same deal. Is both going 9 for 9, Brendan pulls last. Brendan's pulling last. That's a pretty good advantage. But let's see, because anything can happen.
Right.
All right. Let's talk about the 105s. I got a question for you guys. Is Ashton Rauska at 100% right now? Matt's shaking his head. And Matt has scared me a few times this podcast. Now he's still in.
No, I don't. No, yeah, he's still in. I don't believe Ashton is 100%. I don't think we're going to see Ashton's best, but respectfully, I don't think he needs it. And that's how I would characterize this class in a nutshell. So I think, there are, if you look at the American records for Ashton are in play with ease on the squat. And I don't think he has to push too terribly hard. So he's got a chip, that he could use in the deadlift, but Mikey Davis could also pull that much because Mikey Davis is about an 800-pound puller. But look, Ashton is de facto the strongest man in the room, full stop, period. But I just don't think he's 100%, but he doesn't need to be. So he's just got to stay in pocket, make his lifts, and do what he needs to do to secure the W. But I don't think he's 100%. I think he had some niggles and a couple, flare-ups more recently. But rest assured, Ashton will be ready. That guy's a gamer. That guy, I mean, he's cut from that military mindset. He's coming in ready and he's going to make no excuses. So
I think I agree with you. I mean, Ashton's got a spread on these gentlemen. Michael Davis has looked phenomenal lately in terms of a training. And Ashton's vulnerable. How vulnerable? I don't know. Michael's pulled off the upset over Ashton before. Can he do it again? I mean, it'd be a huge upset. That would really be upsetting the apple cart. That would be massive. I know Anatoly's probably pulling for that, but but it would be huge. But barring Ashton going in there and that small flare up turns into a big flare up after squats, I agree with you that Ashton hasn't lost enough that he should lose. Debo's solid as well. These guys they're solid, but I think Ashton's probably got a decent lead here. But what are you thinking, Mike?
Yeah, I don't think Ashton's healthy, and I don't think it matters. I mean, if you just look at what he posted like recently, even like it wasn't top end, but it also doesn't look difficult. So I would say like let's say on a good day, when healthy, he's capable of like 975, 980, something like that. He's not going to do that here, I don't think, but he'll at minimum he'll total like 940, and nobody else is totaling 940. So I think he goes like 940 to 950 and wins by somewhere between 25 and 35 kilos. Like I think Mikey and Dwardley Edward will be much closer to each other than they will be to Ashton.
Yeah, that's a good battle between them. It's a good session. But I think yeah, he's a very special talent. Obviously, Adrienna, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't have too much to add. I think Ashton's gonna walk away with it. He doesn't have to go all out, and I don't think they will go all out. They're gonna play it smart, knowing that Worlds is coming up, knowing that he's got that showdown with Anatoly, among others. And yeah, I pretty much agree. I think he's not gonna be near his best. But he even said in the post a few days ago he's feeling much healthier than he has past few months. He's ready. So he's gonna come in with that military mindset, like Matt said, and I think he'll walk away with it. But having
Well,
Mikey pull off the upset would be would be
he's done
something.
it before. He's done it before,
Hmm.
but yeah, that would yeah, pulling it off twice would be tough. Let's move into the 120s. And Big Dev has made this a whole lot more interesting with that 980 attempt he did in training on that SBD day. And he posted it and he's almost flirted with he might have done some big numbers that he's not posting. He's looking a whole lot of confident. Big Dev, first off, I remember when I had him on the podcast in the fall, I was all but trying to talk this guy into coming over to Powerlifting America. And all but trying to explain to this guy just how close it is between him and Bob Matthews if he does come over. And explaining how, look, if Bob Matthews is the favorite, Bob misses a couple lifts and you could pull off a massive upset and be going to Worlds. And my friend, if you go to Worlds, you would be the favorite at this Worlds. And that means you're going to Sheffield. And with that kind of enticement, the wheels started turning for Dev. And here we are. Can Devin pull off this massive upset? What are the chances of Big Dev upsetting Bob Matthews? If we're going to use percentages, let's throw it to Mike because he's good at percentages and stats.
I give it 20%. I think he needs Bob to miss one lift. One lift, I think it's possible, but not guaranteed. I think he's at least a full lift behind, like on top end. Like I mean, Devin didn't hit that. He did that 980 attempt, but he didn't hit that. And Bob has hit like 985 with more in the tank because he switched to conventional recently, and it looks like literally every week his conventional looks stronger than it did previously. So I think like Bob's top end right now is probably like 990. And I think Devin's top end is probably like 975 maybe. So it would take like, and also Bob has the bigger pull. So it would take Bob like missing a big jump, like if he takes a big jump squat, like second to third, which sometimes he does, and then Devin going perfect. So I could see it happening, definitely, but he's definitely not. Bob's definitely the favorite.
It's also, we should all be grateful that Big Dev came over from the USAPL to make this happen. Otherwise, Ash, I mean, or Bob is just, I mean, now Bob is severely tested. Bob is under fire here. This is serious here. Let me pose this in this way, Adriana. Let me pose this to you. Is Big Dev the most likely underdog to pull off the upset? If you had to pick an underdog to pull off an upset at PA Nats, can you think of another one that you would put your money on? And I'm telling you, I'm going to give you $1 million, but you need to pick an underdog. What
Is this
underdog are you
just the
throwing your money on?
men's? Is this
Just
just
the
the
men's,
men's?
just the gentlemen.
Dang, because I was gonna say, I mean, we'll
No,
lead
no,
into
not
this
yet,
later.
not yet,
Yeah,
not yet.
yeah, not yet. Is there an underdog in the 93s?
No,
Will we say that or no?
Oh,
no,
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 let's say
no, 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 no.
No,
no, no.
that's
No.
even Steven right there.
It's
Yeah,
even
Yeah.
Steven.
yeah.
I think I'll say yes, just because in the 93s it's even. In the 66s with Daniel out, I think there's not, maybe Rodrigo, we'll see. I think that would be a big underdog win. But I think comparing Rodrigo to Devin, I think Devin's got more of a chance just because we have seen Bob miss a few attempts. Now he is moving up a weight class, that's to be said. So he's he's not going to be anywhere near 120, God bless, unless he pulls off a Wasker. But
Well, Oscar's my
he's
friend.
not going to have to cut. He's not going to have to cut. And his conventional is looking really good. So, but I would say yes. I think he's the most likely underdog just because we haven't seen that super meet from Bob yet. He's always putting up these crazy numbers in the gym, but so far his best total is 960 from Raw Nationals. Now he did take a big jump on his last deadlift, so there was some left there, but just on paper, his best total is 960, whereas he's attempted 1,000 kilos in the gym. So I kind of agree with Mike. I think Bob is the big favorite, but Devin has a chance here. And it's a completely different story than it was back in September when Devin was considering coming over, and it was kind of like, all right, Bob's the big favorite here. And now I would say it's close with Devin's training going off, and it makes it more interesting.
I'm super appreciative of Big Dev coming over. In September, I thought it was a good idea. I think it was September he's on the podcast. I remember talking him into it, or attempting to, anyways. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is intriguing. Bob can't just come in here and eat off other people's plates. He's not just eating food how he likes now. He's got to be careful. He misses. Bob has a bad day. He wakes up not feeling 100%. He can lose.
He
That's
gets
for
food
fact.
poisoning. That seems to happen a
Watch the
lot.
food. Yeah, that was pretty specific, Adrian. I don't know what you got going on. Was very specific. Got to watch your food now, Bob. If Adriana's around, Matt, what are you thinking, sir?
I agree with the other two here. I think he's probably got. I think Dev's probably got that 20 to 25% chance if Bob slips. So having said that, yeah, he's the underdog of that has the most potential to secure an upset victory. I still think that clearly Bob has the advantage. I mean, there's that big gap in squat, right? So kind of like we talked about the gap with Petrie and Gavin, being squat and deadlift, and they were about the same in the bench. Well, the gap here is in the squat, between Dev and Bob. And then the bench or then in the bench where Dev has the upper hand. And we've seen him do the 265 kilo now in the gym. So and Bob has had to make adjustments because of the elbow depth and so forth. And I think that he's done that. But so I think that that gap needs to be mitigated on both sides. But presumably Bob has the advantage of pulling last, and so yeah.
I mean, can you imagine I don't know if like elbow depth or whatever, some weird calls. There's a couple tough calls, and all of a sudden this thing gets super tight.
Yeah, I think Bob's got it sorted. He's acclimated. He's sinking more now as a put in his bench. I think we've seen that in his training videos, as opposed to that light touch that he preferred when he was doing the really high arch and the wide grip and so forth, and wasn't concerned with depth. But now that he's concerned with the elbow depth, he's been sinking more, and he seemed to acclimate to it well. So I do think it's going to take something. Bob's bench is going to take a hit, but I think he'll still have enough in the tank, and I think he'll execute well enough to fend off the stiff charge from Dev, because man, has Dev made some progress.
Yeah, it's good. And the thing is, Bob likes this kind of stuff. Bob wants it. Bob encourages it, and it'll make him rise. Bob's a special talent. Believe me.
Yeah.
I'm not doubting Bob. I'm just glad that there is a show there. So you never want somebody to walk it like a cakewalk. Otherwise, it's what are we doing? It's the fourth quarter and we're trying to get home early and try to beat traffic. Nobody wants that. But Big Dev's around, so it won't be that.
The only thing that I would add to this just discussion,
Yeah.
just kind of a sidebar, is that we've seen two competitors that we're accustomed to seeing in the 120s. Tristan Nazelrod and Enrique Lugo have both moved up, so they're going to be 120 plus. But Susie and I have the good fortune of joining forces with Mike T again, and Mike has put together some fantastic training, and we're really looking forward to seeing a recently improved. I don't want to say an all-time Mike T, but we're going to see a Mike T that we haven't seen since his comeback. So I fully anticipate him hitting some post comeback PVs, and his training is on the uptick. So we're excited about working with him again.
Everybody loves Mike T. I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk poorly about Mike T. The guy carries himself like a gem. He's a national treasure. And yeah, and he's given so much to the game. But anyways, don't make me go off on Mike T. I'll blow in a half hour. Let's move into the 120s here. It's return of Ray Williams, and it's a matchup. It's Ray Williams versus Oliveras, just not the Oliveras we were hoping for originally a few years ago. But here we are, Pablo versus Ray, and I'm wondering, what do you guys think of this matchup? I don't know where Ray's at necessarily. Ray kind of plays his cards close to his chest, doesn't show all of his lifts, trying to read Matt's face right now.
Yeah, that post he made the other day was such a tease. I watched the whole video waiting for the 1,000-pound squat, and he just talks and doesn't actually show the squat. I was so frustrated. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this will actually be that close. I mean, Pablo's training was looking good for a while, and he's definitely going to put up a lot on his total. But assuming that Ray hit that 1,000-pound squat that he was posting about, his bench actually his last meet, his bench was higher than his previous few meets. So it looks like, at least from that, is good. So I think the question really is just, does Ray squat 1,000, and like, does he bring his total back into like the 1,030 range rather than like the 1,000 range he's been flirting with? And I don't think Pablo's even close to the 1,000 range yet. So I don't really think it's going to end up being close.
Can you imagine? Ray posted that he has the 1,000 pounds in the background. He talks for 60 seconds the whole night. He missed that lift play. Imagine he didn't. You assume he's like, no, I missed. No, I got buried by it, but I'm going to get my thoughts on it. It's like, what? Yeah, I mean, Ray's got to be the favorite. It's just hard to tell exactly what are we going to get from Ray. If we get a 1,000-pound squat, that's amazing. I mean, that's a hell of a show. 1,000 pounds is still a 1,000 pounds, and he is still Ray Williams. He's connected to powerlifting history. When you watch Ray Williams hit the platform, you're watching a piece of history from another era hit the platform and do his thing. And for him to grab another national title, I mean, his resume is already crazy stacked. Matt, what can you tell us? What are you allowed to tell us here?
I can tell you that you're going to see a Ray Williams that's significantly better than his last two performances. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. He's healthy. He's excited. He Yeah, he's chomping at the bit to get back on the platform, and so he didn't have the day that he wanted in the Cayman Islands, and wasn't able to lift as well as he wanted to at nationals last year. Even though he hit the 1,000 kilo total, secured the W, got the job done. But yeah, we're anticipating Ray being significantly better than he was at the Caymans. So if he
How about
goes
this?
out and does his job, I think we're in good shape.
How about this? Let me throw this around the table because I think everyone's pretty on the same page with what we think's going to happen. But let me do another over under. Ray Williams, 1,000 pound squat. Adrienna, does Ray squat 1,000 or less?
I'll say over because he's got Matt in his corner. And just because we heard Matt say that he's feeling better. It's actually quite a story. If he were feeling the best he's ever been, Jesus, he's the shoe-in to go to the Worlds. He's likely got the Worlds team spot locked up, but he did kind of have an underperformance at Sheffield and hit 1,113 kilos, which is just half a kilo over Ray's best. So it's kind of funny story there. If Ray were recovered all the way enough, that could have been interesting. But yeah, I think he's got the 1,000, and I think it'll be a spectacle to see. I'm really excited.
Um, I mean, he'd be an American champion, probably make, even if he doesn't go to Worlds, he'll make an American team somewhere. And if he showed up and showed out, I'm gonna get ahead of myself. But can you imagine Sheffield if Ray was 100%? But that's let's not get ahead of ourselves and start turning back the clock. But Mike, over or under 1,000 pounds?
Yeah, so I think he hits it. I mean, I'm just mad that I'm not gonna be there to see it because that's like one of the few things on my bucket list to see Ray squat 1,000 in person, and the and I haven't gotten that opportunity yet. So, but I think he's gonna do it. I'm just curious who ends up totaling more this weekend between Ray and Tamor. I think they're both in this like in the same range, and I'm curious because nobody's near Jesus, but Ray still might be the number 2 heavyweight in the world. So I'm just curious to see how he does.
Timur's fast rising. Timur's been hitting some big numbers in training. But you guys seeing because I've been posting and I've been tagging you guys and blah blah blah. But yeah, Timur is competing this weekend. This is the March Madness episode. We'll get into the Europeans, but yeah, holy smokes, have we been chatty Cathy's? I didn't think we were going to go off like this. Wow. Well, here we are. Uh, but let's talk about the women's before it's freaking midnight. Um, I guess we'll kick off with the 47s and breaking news today. Heather Connor has pulled out. So barring, I mean, it's going to be Jess. It's a shame because her training was looking phenomenal, and I was starting to wonder if Heather was going to put together an all-time great performance for herself, at least, if not, all-time great for the weight class, all-time great for herself, which is going to be really good. What were we talking about? Who knows? We're not going to find out now, and unfortunately, this prep, we're not going to see the fruits of her labor. But Jessica Espinal is in. She'll be going to Worlds. It's a preview show for her then. We'll see how far she can push it. What are you guys anticipating from Jessica Espinal? Are we looking at 420 and up, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she hasn't posted like so much. She never does, but I mean, she did post the 177.5 deadlift and it was just like easy. A lot of the meets her third deadlift has looked like it had room. At the Texas Fall Championships meet that she did, she hit 177 and then hit 182 in the back room. I think she probably has like 185 on deadlifts. I think she's probably, I mean, I don't know what her game plan is now that there's no battle. I don't know if it's the same exact game plan, but assuming that the game plan at this point is just to go push it, and because why not? I think she's probably capable of coming really close to the current world record. Like I think she can squat, like her current squat I think is 143. I think she's a little bit more, like she could probably chip like 146 or something, and she probably can total like 425, 427. That's what I'm in that range. That's what I think.
Holy smokes! That's pretty big. She's getting close. It puts the pressure on Turbo Tiff that she can't have a bad day and win.
Yeah.
What do you think, Adriana?
I thought you were gonna bring it to Matt next because he's coaching her, but
Okay, Matt. Okay.
I'll go. So we don't have the inside info yet, but yeah, I think she was really disappointed to hear that Heather pulled out, as we all are. I mean, it's a shame that I think she got pneumonia and then had some health issues, so she made the smart decision to pull out. But it's pivotal, kind of like with Daniel Clements, because she's not gonna be able to go to the World Games. She's not gonna be able to try to take back the world title. So, and potentially go to Sheffield, of course. So it's really a shame for her. And she was really looking forward to a battle. And she's a dog, like she goes hard in training. She doesn't post as much, but um I've had the privilege of I'm on that close friends list, so I'm not gonna say what she's done, but I
So
love
why?
seeing her training. So don't take me off, please. Um, so I don't think they'll go all out. We'll see what Matt says, and maybe like we could see a big showdown between her and Tiff at Worlds now. And maybe they won't show all their cards here, won't go all the way out like they would have with Heather. But I agree with Mike. I think she's capable of, I don't think she'll go over the world record at this meet, but I think she'll get pretty close. I think in the 420s.
All right, what are you thinking? You got inside.
I do. As you all know, I'm good friends, very close friends with Jason Tremblay, Jess's coach. We're disappointed. I mean, I'm disappointed just from the competitive aspect that we're not going to have Heather there, but we can only control what we do, and we're not taking our foot off the gas. And the game plan for us has not changed. So if not if, when Jessica goes out and executes, I'm not going to get into specific numbers, just expect a PB total from Jess. So that's our plan. That's our goal. We want to go out and make 9 lifts and punch our ticket to get her on the national team and go to Worlds. And that's been our objective since we were hired on the staff, and that's going to continue to be our objective. So looking forward to her going out and executing and having a good day.
Fair enough. Moving into the 52s, and we got some question marks here now. Obviously, well, Megan Hurlburt, phenomenal talent, previously had missed weight, has a new coach, probably the strongest lady in the room. But what do we anticipate is gonna happen here? Maybe I'll throw it to you, Adriana, first.
Sure. It's funny because this is actually a repeat of last year's storyline. Megan was the heavy favorite, and Jamie was the favorite to take silver. And Megan had to make, I think, a 2.5 kilo cut, 2 kilo cut, and it just proved to be too much. And there was a big shock when she missed weight and had to compete as a guest. And then Jamie was able to clinch the title. And she didn't go to Worlds because I think the qualifying total was the Carpino one, and it was like in the 430s or something. But now that's a different story because the qualifying total is 85% of the world record, which is it's doable for them. I think it's around the 400. Yeah, it's around the 400 kilo mark, maybe a bit over. And Jamie has hit 415 before, albeit before the bench rule. So it's kind of the same storyline where Megan is the shoe-in to take it all if she makes weight. And she's got Marcellus behind her. We know Marcellus can make those cuts. Maybe they're coming in a bit more prepared. So, and I'm just excited to see. I think she makes weight because she's got the new coach. She's kind of got the experience now. Maybe they're sitting closer to weight. I don't know. She did weigh in, I think, at 55 kilos at bench nationals. So we'll just see. But in my mind, she makes weight and she takes the title, goes to Worlds. And I think the question really is how far she's able to push it at this meet and kind of really have her breakout in the 52 class, considering she's never competed in the 52 class. So this will be her debut. And it'll be interesting because she could put up a total that now we've got Evie, who we don't know if she's going to go 52, 50, I mean, 52 or 57,
I think
but
she's
she
going
could put up a
52 again.
total that she's okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But
She was on the pod. Yeah.
nonetheless, Megan, yeah, she's stuck. She's stuck in that lower weight class and she wasn't
Yeah.
planning to be there for long. But
Ah,
anyways, I think that Megan Hurlbut could put up a total, it could be within the top 52 totals of all time and be immediately in contention for a podium spot at Worlds. And hey, that would give her World Games. So I think that's kind of what they're eyeing. And we'll just see what she's able to do after the cut.
like Vanessa, Jamie, phenomenal lifters. And the big thing around Megan, my God, she's never competed as a 52.
Right.
It's got to be thrown out there. She's got the biggest total by a decent chunk. She's the strongest human in the room on that day. Sure. Has never competed as a 52. And it isn't like she hasn't tried. That can't be overlooked. And what does it look like? And what happens to her when she makes 52? Maybe she's still a killer, but we haven't seen it yet. It's very interesting that we're at this level. It's very high level, obviously. We think about all the stars are at this meet, and all that's on the line with this meet. You go to Worlds, you podium, you're going to World Games. Very high level powerlifting right now. In a meet, she's never competed at that weight class before. The unique scenario. I don't even know how to parse this. What are you thinking, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes down to her and the scales. If she makes weight, like I think even if she has a horrible cut and loses strength, her strength is so far ahead of everyone else. I mean, in the gym in prep, she squatted 178, which is absolutely insane. Um, she deadlifted 183, which is also like, I mean, she put up like a 468 gym total, something like that. I don't think she'll replicate that, but I think like even with a bad cut, if she makes weight, at least 430, and I don't think anyone else is getting there. So I think she just has to make weight. I'm not confident in that. Like I would say, I mean, it wasn't just the nationals last year that she missed weight. I don't know whether she initially planned on doing all the other competitions also at 57, but she hasn't even gone close. Like the lightest she's gotten is 53.4 from last year's nationals. And then like it's not like she's been weighing in like a kilo and a half over by the other things, which would show that she's probably like close enough to weight that she just needs to cut. She's been weighing like 55, which means that it looks like she's still not sitting near weight. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think I hope she makes weight. If she makes weight, I think she wins regardless of how bad it takes to make weight. And then if she doesn't, there's Jamie, there's Vanessa, and there's also Leah Goldring. Of those,
Leah as
Jamie,
well.
I think is yeah. I think Jamie is the strongest of those three lifters. Her bench, she said it's gotten back to basically pre bench depth rules. She tripled 110, which I believe is her best comp bench. Now I don't think she's necessarily going to do much more than that with her arch and all that. Like I don't think that 110 for a triple translates to significantly more, but like she probably could do like 112, something like that. And then her deadlift looks pretty good now. So I think she's probably capable on a good day of like 425 maybe, which would be a like a 10 kilo PR. And the other two lifters I think will probably be closer to the 400 range. So that's how I think it's going to play out.
To your point, January 27th, she was 55.1 kilos. I mean, that's not just that's a decent chunk over. 52, like when she missed, she was around there. This is, but maybe it won't be an issue. I don't know. Matt, do you have any more to add on this, do you think, or do you think we've pretty much said it all? We don't have to. I realize we've taken far more time per weight class than we had originally said. So we we don't necessarily have to do a round table in every single division like we were, unless maybe when we get to a super interesting storyline. Because we are chatty Cathy's, and I don't know how this happened. We were supposed to skip along and just stop here and there at a particular weight class. But let's move to the 57s here. Obviously, this is going to be locked up by Natalie Richards. Nobody's coming close to Natalie's Sheffield performance, and Natalie's going to be going to the World Championships. So the definitely in terms of vying for that, whether it's between Johnson and Chen for the national title, but Natalie Richards has this locked up. And in terms of those two ladies, Johnson's got a pretty decent spread on that, I believe, and I don't. So we're not vying for a national team title. We're not looking at a major battle. We good to skip along. We'll move
Yes,
to
sir.
the 60. We'll move to the 63s, and not quite the case there though. This is 63s is open for business, and whoever wins that is going to the World Championships, and whoever wins that might be a favorite to win the World Championships. Just for everyone who to know, Leah is staying 69 and Gara is staying 69. They both told me so. So the 63 kilo class is wide open. That door is open. You smell the home cooking, come on in. And if you win worlds, you go to Sheffield. You get on the podium, you go to World Games. So in the 63 kilo class, we got a Pro Series champion, two national champions. Megan's a world champion and won and medaled at Worlds several times. Worlds competitor. This is a stacked class between these three ladies, and I'm hearing all types of talk. Celine's taken her close friends and sized it down, and I didn't make the cut. You understand? And I took that personally, and I'm gonna have words with her in the hotel lobby when I see her. Okay. But I didn't make the cut. And I don't know if she's hiding. I don't know. I know Matt is close with the strength guys. And I'm trying to read his face, but my man, you don't want to play poker with him because he's good. But Matt, what can you tell us? Because there's rumors that she's murdering right now.
Yeah, so nice to see Brittany Suplicki coming back from some injury. So I think, barring something crazy, she's got third locked up. And so clearly this is a battle between Megan and Celine. And here's what I know, because I'm tight with Jason, obviously, and I'm also tight with Kelly Mann. And I think you've got two of the brightest minds in programming coaching at opposite ends here. Kelly Mann, of course, in Australia, and then Jason Tremblay from the Strength Guys up in Canada. I think we're going to see the best of each lifter that we've ever seen before. And with Celine, consistency is a weapon. Fully anticipate her going 9 for 9. And I think Jason spent some time with me here at my home about a month ago, and I've been privy to seeing some of the inside scoop with Celine, and not to let the cat out of the bag and not to divulge any specific numbers. I wouldn't dare do that, but I think you can anticipate a significant jump in Celine's total. I think she's going to surprise some people. Having said that, knowing what I know about Meg and having also seen her training, I think Meg would have to miss a lift. I think Celine's probably still about a lift behind in terms of absolute strength. Meg being that subtotal specialist, having a big squat, big bench. But her deadlift has gotten better. Her attempt selection has improved under Kelly Mann's tutelage. Her execution has been improving. And so I just think that if we see both lifters at their best, I just think Meg has got the higher ceiling. But having said that, she can't slip. And like I said, Celine's going to make 9 attempts. And presumably, Celine will have the last deadlift. We think that their deadlifts are close. She's got a 217.5 PB as opposed to, I think Meg's is 215. So the deadlifts are close in terms of PB there, but presumably, Celine would be pulling last. Her deadlift's probably a little bit more reliable than Meg's just because she's pulling conventional. She can grind. Meg is sumo. But anyway, so that's kind of how I see it without actually picking a winner. I just think we're going to see the best version of both of these ladies, and I'm excited to see that. And I think they will both execute at a very high level.
And something about Meg. Um,
Yeah, she's a gamer.
Meg, when she won the world championships in 2022, didn't go to Sheffield. And now that door is open and Meg's got an opportunity.
Mhm.
And Meg has an opportunity to go all the way, possibly win a world title, and head to Sheffield. 35 years old, mother of two, been in the game for a hot minute. And I mean, so she's motivated. She's definitely, and she's a gamer. But Celine's a machine. I don't know. What do you want to throw something in there, Adrienna?
Not too much to add, kind of harping on the same points that Matt said. I think if we were taking Megan's 2019 attempt selection versus Celine today, then I would give it to Celine. But Megan has kind of cleaned it up, and her bench seems back to form as well. She pressed, I think it was 135 kilos at the Texas Fall Championships, and it looked pretty easy. Like I think we could see 140 out of her. But Celine is right there too. And even though on paper she's 20 kilos behind, kind of like Matt said, she's made a lot of progress. And she's going in the dark. She's not posting. She took me off her close friends, trying to get back on her good side. So
We'll be back.
yeah,
We'll be back.
we'll be back. Come on, we'll be back. I'll say, don't count Celine out. She's got that South Carolina in her. We're from the same town. I always gotta root for her. But I agree with Matt. I think it's Megan's to lose at the end of the day, just because her training's going well. She's got the best total by far. So I think it's possible that Megan messes up. And I mean, at last year's nationals, she was kind of fighting against that Carpino 1 total. And it came down to the last deadlift because there were some issues going in. I think she got sick or something. So you never know what could happen. And I'm just excited to see how much progress Celine has made, have it be put on the platform. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to add.
Or she might catch food poisoning.
Yeah,
Hmm?
you never know. You never know.
Cover your plates when Adriana comes into the cafeteria. That's all I'm saying. Um, one thing I remember I'll throw it to you in one sec there, Mike. I know you want to throw something in there. I was talking to Celine. She took me off the close friends. And I'm trying to get a vibe on this. And I'm like, trying to just, when you like, you just want to get some kind of feedback. I'm like, Celine, this is a big year because the reigning world champ's up. She's moved up. And she's like, I know. And I'm like, and Leah's not coming down. And she's like, I know. And you win this, you go to Worlds, and you would be a favorite for Worlds. That could be Sheffield. And she goes, Ryan, you're freaking me out. And it's like, all right, let me back up. This is why I got taken off close friends. And this
Yeah.
is where I ruin it and I don't get put back on close friends. I can't help myself. Mike, what were you thinking, sir?
Yeah, so I mean, I love watching Celine, and I think she's gonna have a good meet here. And I think if she was trying to compete with Meg's previous total, I think she would be close. I'm not even sure if she would get that, but I think she'll probably have something like a 15 to 20 kilo jump in her total, possibly. But Megan's training has just been really good. Her bench is basically back to pre-bench rules. She's benched like 137.5 a million times. She's benched 140. She squatted 187.5 for a set of 4. Uh, Honestly, I don't even think they're one attempt away. I think it's closer to 2. I think Meg, if she goes all out on a good day, can total over the current world record. I think like Meg's good for like 555 to 560 on a good day. So I don't know how much she's going to push because she's not going to need that. So probably like 550 would be something that would be safe where like it's attempts that she probably could hit and would probably be enough that she would be fine even with Selena having the last pull. I just don't I think it's hers to win, and I think I'd be a little bit surprised. Like I would say like an 80-20 on Meg.
I'll add
Similar
in to
oh,
that. Oh, sorry. I think I'll add
No,
in
go
too
ahead.
that it is Megan's to lose, but Celine, she gifted me one lift in the DM, and I won't even say which discipline, but I'll say it was good, and I'll leave it at that.
As soon as this is over, I'm going right into our group chat and I'm applying. I'm giving you the same pressure I was giving
Hey,
Celine.
I'm my lips are sealed. I'm trying to get on her good side so I get
You're
back
back
on
in
the
that
close
close
friends.
friends.
I haven't told a soul what she sent me, so
You know what I like
I'm
is
good.
when
I'm good.
you know what you know what I like is when like a lifter I haven't met yet or nothing has me on the close friends. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you for the trust. Thank you.
You feel kind of
I'm on,
close. You feel kind of close to them. I've never
feel
talked to this
yeah,
person, but they're on my close friends. So all right,
like all
we're
right,
best friends now.
props. And for anyone listening, I've never in my life posted on close friends. So if you're like, yo, I got you on my close friends and you don't have me on yours. No, I just don't have close friends. It's not that it's a one-way street. I just don't have mine going at all. Let's move into the 69s here. It's another good battle here, isn't it? Gabby, Chelsea, and Jacqueline. And this one's tight. I'm not sure how to read this. Who wants to go first here? Break the tension.
Sure,
You
I'll
go ahead,
go.
Mike. All right.
Yeah, so right, so we got three. We got Gabby, Chelsea, and Jackie. So Chelsea obviously won nationals last year, went the worlds, been to worlds before. Jackie's young. She just competed, had a 5:30 PR total. And then with Gabby switched over. I think Gabby's trainings look really good. She just did that 230 deadlift. She's gonna pull last here, and I think she's gonna win probably by like 10 to 15 kilos. She has a big bench. Like it's not as big as Chelsea, but she's a strong bench, strong squat, strong everything. So I don't think I think it would take her having not the best day for one of the other two lifters to actually win. I think Chelsea and Jackie are both in very similar spots. I could see them both totaling somewhere in the mid 530s, and then I think Gabby can be totaling like upper 540s to the 550s. So I think it's hers to win, and it'll be probably a battle for second.
Gabby's got an opportunity here. She's a talent that hasn't yet fully shown the world what she's capable of, and her trainings look good. Her squats would look good too. I'm very interested in seeing what she does. Matt, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think the same as Mike. Her training has looked fantastic. I think Jackie has a tremendous amount of momentum. Chelsea is clearly the seasoned veteran here, having competed at Worlds, I believe, 3 times, 3 different occasions, and big bench. And so, but I think that Gabby's just a cut above the rest, and I think that she's going to have a significantly higher total. And to Mike's point, she could pull last, and that's the ace card that you want up your sleeve. So.
Chelsea's been on a roll there, collecting gold medals at the World Championships in the bench press. Yeah, phenomenal talent, but yeah, we'll see. By no means can we look past her, but Gabby's been looking phenomenal, and Jackie looks like she's got a bright future. Adrienna, you want to throw anything in there? Do you think we can move into the 76s?
Sure, I'll just add really quickly that
Yeah,
this is the class that I was kind of alluding to earlier, that I think Gabby is the favorite, but I think this class out of every single one at nationals is the one where an underdog could win in Chelsea or Jackie. Jackie, it's so interesting because we know she's hiding her lifts. What she is showing, it's big lifts. And she's not showing any of her deadlift. I think they're keeping it under wraps. And she's really new in the sport too. I think she's just age out of the juniors a couple years ago. And she didn't get into the sport until I think 2020. And it's phenomenal the progress she's making. I mean, she just crossed over the 500 kilo mark. She hit 507.5 in September, hit 530 at the Pro Duel in January. So
it's
she's
crazy.
kind of sneaky one there. Yeah, it's insane that she hasn't even been in the sport for 4 years and she's already here. So I think in my mind, this is honestly a closer battle than maybe the other two think. I think Gabby's the favorite, and she does have that trump card in that crazy deadlift that she posted. So we'll just we'll see. I think it's tight, and I'm just excited to watch.
And could be queued up for the future with Jackie as well. Could see where she lies now, what potentially she could be for the future, and how much she could build upon what she's already done with some fast progress like that. Moving into the 76s, this one for me is kind of hard to call. We have a lady like Crennan Warford that I just don't know. She has tons of potential, crazy star power. If she went full send, Gavin Aiden burned her ships and committed to powerlifting, like insert whoever's name that's a crazy workhorse. Can you imagine if Crennan won the world champion, won PA Nats, won the world championships, won, like, imagine she went all the way. Can you, with her following and everything, that all the eyeballs she has, can you imagine what she would do with that world title and what she would bring to us? But is she all in like that? How all is she? How all in is she in powerlifting? Because I'm not seeing a hell of a lot. I see tons of pics. I see all types of other social media content, but I don't see a lot of power. I don't even know if I would think she was a power lifter if I was on her IG at times. I don't know how all in she is. I don't know if she's grinding in there like other people are, and I don't know where she's going to end up. But I know Dana is grinding, and Dana is going to show up. And if anyone's going to get upset on the women's side, and we see an upset happen, if Crennan is the favorite, Dana can pull off an upset, especially if she's pulling last with that deadlift. I am very much wondering your guys' interpretation on this. And I know we're just kind of shooting in the dark here because we don't know. What do you guys think? Matt, what do you think, sir? I'll throw it to you first this time.
Yeah, I'll be quite honest with you. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Crennan. She hasn't competed much. She did put together a 549 kilo total. At Southern Regionals back in 2023, and that was on a 9-for-9 day. To your point, Ryan, she doesn't post a lot. So I don't know what to expect. I mean, other than the fact that, I'm sure that Joseph will have her ready. I'm sure that they're taking this very seriously. Dana is clearly the seasoned veteran, and she's the one who's been around the block. She's been to Worlds, and she just posted a 565-pound deadlift, which, albeit was on pound plates, but that's a 255 kilo, 256 kilo deadlift in the gym. I don't know if she squat first. I don't know if she benched first. Don't know if she was on body weight, but I don't think Dana cuts much. So I think this is a situation where on paper, Crennan has the highest ceiling. She's got the squat, she's got a significant bench, and her deadlift is good. But if she were to slip up and make a mistake, Dana's going to be right there. Dana typically makes a lot of lifts. She YOLO'd on her last deadlift attempt at Worlds, so I don't count that in terms of data against her. It's just one of those situations where Crennan probably just needs to make lifts and kind of stay in pocket, but Dana's going to be right there on her heels. Claire Zai is in this class, competing as a 76 as well. She's bounced around some weight classes from 63 to 69. I think now she's probably found her home, feeling more comfortable. 76 doesn't post a lot of her training, has been kind of inconsistent in her performances. And then, of course, we have Michelle Robbins. But I really think this is going to come down to Crennan and Dana at the end. So,
What do you think, Adrienna? What's going on in Crennan land?
Kind of along the same lines, I think. Well, I will say Michelle Robbins seems to be making great progress. Sometimes the squats look a little high, so we'll see how that goes. And she's got experience. She's been to NAPFs, but she's cutting down the weight class. So we'll just see. She could be in the mix. And then we have Dana, who posted big deadlift, and just seeing how she YOLO that worlds for that world record deadlift when she seemingly could have gone less and hit a PR total. She's got more in the tank. And I think no matter what happens, she's gonna load up for the win. I don't know, like she could load up 265 for the win, and we'll see how that goes. And then Cranon. So initially I thought, oh, she's kind of not the shoe-in, but like almost because she's only been competing since 2022. Less than 2 years, and she's already at 549.5. And she's got a great team behind her in flex. But then I heard some rumors that, oh, she kind of took a break from powerlifting after that performance. Kind of like you said, if you look at her page, she doesn't post too much training. I think she's just a phenom. And I agree with you. If she committed to the sport, I don't know what we could see. I think she's more committed now, and potentially she just needed a little bit of a break after regionals. So I think she's still the favorite going in, but it's just going to be tight with attempt selection, given that she's so new, with execution that goes along with attempt selection. And we'll see how it ends up. But if like she could blow this out of the water and hit in the 560s, or she could shit the bed for better words and just fumble and not hit lifts and then have Dana come in and take that ticket to Worlds. So we'll just see. We'll just see between them.
What do you think, Nick?
So first off, I'll just mention that, yeah, so we haven't seen anything. Claire doesn't post anything, so I have no idea where she's at. It would be nice to see her do well, but whatever. And also comeback meet for Chloe Dublin. Excited to see her lift. But in my opinion, it comes down to, I think, 3 people. So I think Cranon is the strongest of these lifters. Like everyone else already said, I don't need to reiterate the whole thing. We have no idea what she's actually doing. She doesn't post much. She had one like easy 500-pound deadlift a bit ago. That's all I could really find. Now, Michelle Robbins is a very interesting case. I think she has potential to put a pretty big like comp total, like PR. Her best total is 535 from NAPFs, which was like 7-8 months ago, something like that. And since then, she's doubled 190 on squat, which is over her squat PR. Depth is very questionable to say the least, but it kind of always looks like that. She has a very interesting, like awkward looking squat, so I'm not sure. She has the strongest bench of any of these girls. She benched like 125, and she's has probably a little bit more there. She's done like 125 a bunch of times in prep, and deadlifts I'm not sure. She hasn't posted anything over 215 recently, but she did 225 last meet. So I think if she has a good day and executes, which is possible, I think she got a new coach, so maybe just her training's a little better and maybe her attempt selection will be a little better. She could possibly like push into the upper 540s, like right where like Cranon's total is now, and then depending on what Cranon does, she'll be in contention. But end of the day, Dana's going to pull last. Everyone saw the 565 she just posted recently. It was on pound plates, but she always trains on that in her army base. That's what she has. So, and it hasn't negatively affected her really previously. So I think Dana is definitely going to pull for the win. And just the question is, does Cranon like show up and do like what she's capable of? In which case, Dana will probably have to load more than she could. And also, does Dana like come like Dana's gonna make attempts? Like she's missed her last bench a couple times, but she'll probably come into her last deadlift either 7 for 8 or 8 for 8. So I think if she can load something between like 550 and 565, she probably pulls for the win and hits. If she has to load between 565 and 585, she'll still probably load for the win, but probably won't hit. And then Michelle Robbins a little bit of a wild card, and I hope she's like in the picture, and I think she might be, but it'll take a good day. So I'll go with Cranon, but yeah.
Moving into the 84s, and of course, this is Amanda Lawrence. Nobody's going to take Amanda's world spot. She's the greatest 84 of all time. Nobody in history could take her world spot. But looking at what we have, we don't have to spend a heck of a lot of time on it, but we have Tiffany Savage, Marissa Lulin, Eliza Tesler, and I mean, this is probably going to be Tiffany Savage, who's got a phenomenal last name, by the way. That's an amazing powerlifting last name. But she's got a decent spread here. Any big notes you think we should add here? It's pretty much she'll take the national title, and Amanda Lawrence is going to take that world team spot and keep it moving. Although it can't in the 84 pluses, my God, if ever a weight class has leveled up over the years, forever, it was Bonica Brown, and that's it. She just had such a spread on everybody. It was always Bonica. And now it's conceivable Bonica might not make another world's team from here on out. I mean, if she did, she might not podium, even if we said 284s pluses. He's out great. And that's not an indictment on Bonica. That's to tell you what's going on in the 84 pluses right now. We have two women who've crossed 700 pounds or 700 kilos, sorry. And Sonita, who's right knocking on the door, and she's going to cross over in the worlds. And she's squatting, by the way, over 300 kilos. It's crazy. This is the best we've ever seen this division. And Alexis Jones is the strongest powerlifter in the women's division, period, tested, untested. It's her. She is the Jesus Oliveras on the women's side. She hasn't shown the world on the world stage. She was in the USAPL and nobody saw it coming, but nobody watches the USAPL nationals if you look at the numbers. But when she shows up at PA Nats, people are watching PA Nats, and people sure as shit are going to watch Worlds. And they're going to see what Alexis is all about. And it's going to be eye-opening for some people. What are you guys anticipating here? Who wants to go first? Mike, go ahead.
I'll go for it. Yeah. So first up, I also want to mention that besides for Alexis Bonica, we have Melissa Copeland and Patricia Johnson. So we got two insanely strong masters lifters that will be going at it. Both of them potentially will win Masters Worlds in their classes. But yeah, so the battle here is between Alexis and Bonica. But I think we're a year too late. A year ago, this might have been close. I don't think it's going to be close right now. I think Bonica, even if she has a great day, which she said something about not to expect too much, that she's been sick or whatever, but her squat still does look really good. She squatted 280 at that Texas meet, and there was more there. She is the second best squatter in the world after Sonita, and I could see her plausibly squatting 290. But her bench is just way, way behind, and her deadlift's behind. So I honestly don't see this being within 30 kilos. 30 kilos probably best case scenario. Which is not. I mean, Bonica could put up a total here that would have been the world record as of pre-Malta, but it still won't be even close. I think we said Alexis is like the female Jesus, but she's really not. She's even more. Jesus is the strongest male, and it's not close. But Jesus misses lifts. He has technicalities that he gets called for. Things are a little bit sketchy at times. Alexis is the strongest powerlifter and doesn't miss lifts. She goes 9 for 9. She doesn't have depth issues. She doesn't have lockout issues on deadlift. She hits her lifts. She gets 3 white lights. She's just going to go out there. She's going to have a chill day. She's going to total probably 725, 730. And then she'll be ready at Worlds to come in and take her world title. So that's my take.
Side praise. Now you're talking to a Canadian now, so you got to watch your tone because Brittany Schlater's coming. You got to watch it. Check yourself now, Playboy.
Hey, I'm a huge Brittany fan. I mean, I didn't say she's gonna win Worlds easily. I'm saying she's gonna take it to Worlds. Worlds. Yeah.
We'll do. Now listen, if you were to call Alexis as your favorite to win Worlds, I mean, it is what it is. I'm just busting chops, but we won't get too much into a Worlds preview just yet. Adrienna, what do you think?
Sure. Kind of along the same lines as Mike. Bonica coming in, she said on that post, don't expect too much. She's been sick. We'll see what she does. Well, I think she could put up 290, which will be awesome to see in person. And I think this is Alexis's to lose. She came on the podcast saying her goals. She wants to win Worlds. She wants to go to Sheffield. She's got goals of winning Sheffield, taking it all. So and I think she's still a junior, or she just aged out, which is crazy. And she seems to, we don't see top end in her training. She says she doesn't hide her training. She just doesn't go top end until meet day, which is super interesting. And so this is kind of a showcase of what she's been putting together. And she seems to put on 20 to 30 kilos every meet, and it still doesn't look that hard. So I'm excited to see what she does. I'm excited to see how far she pushes it, knowing that she doesn't necessarily have to push. Like Bonika's there, but at the end of the day, Alexis has the bigger deadlift, could just pull ahead of her, go home. But it does go to say that the highest female raw total, tested, untested, is 735, and Alexis is at 721.5. So we could see an all-out performance from her. We could see her crossing that, pulling a Jesus. So she could really be called the Jesus of the women's division, be the strongest ever alive, untested, tested, no question. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to add. I'm just excited to see her lift, really.
What do you think of there, Matt?
Yeah, I don't have much to add, Ryan. I mean, I think the writing is on the wall. She's the strongest woman in the room. She executes at a high level. She's gone 9 for 9 in her last 5 raw competitions. The only misses have come in some single ply meet that she did. And there's only 2 women who have ever totaled more than her, and they were both in untested, Tamara Walcott and April Mathis. And so it really is just a question of how far does Alexis want to push. And so if she goes full send, I think you're looking at your best lifter on GL points. You know, if she holds back, then we might be talking about somebody else. But I fully anticipate her to make 9 lifts and, do her job, make the national team, go to Worlds.
I will
Yeah.
add too that just to correct from earlier, Sunita did cross the 700 kilo.
Oh, did
mark.
she?
She
I
hit
totally-
708 at Worlds, and then Brittany was able to pull ahead.
No, you mean it at Sheffield. They
Oh, at
both totaled
Sheffield.
over-
Yeah, excuse
they
me.
both
Yeah,
totaled over
at Sheffield.
700
Yeah,
at
gotcha.
Sheffield.
Okay, I totally forgot.
Right.
And I
Yeah,
called that event too. I'm forgetting already.
At Worlds, they were both in the Brittany was at 693 and a half, and Sunita was just behind at 688 or something like that. So anyway, but yeah,
Okay.
look, that the podium at Worlds is going to be 700 plus. Well, I mean, that's a given. That's not a hot take.
Well,
that's facts. So
yeah, more than likely, yeah.
yeah.
All right, you guys want to do this March Madness thing? We don't got to spend let's not spend another 3 hours on
Yeah.
on Euros
Yeah.
in Arnold, UK. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about it anyways. I'll pull up. Do you guys have the rosters in front of you?
For Euros.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
Doing
Yep.
Euros
For
first.
Euros.
Yep, I got it.
We'll take a look at Euros first.
Yep.
So again, let's not go division by division. Let's agree
Yep.
on this. I know we said we weren't going for P and S, and then we just did. Yeah, we just did. We caught a vibe in the room. We rode that vibe, and you got to make those audibles sometimes, Mike. But for this one, we're really going to actually just do a few highlight things here and there. All right. So
Yep.
a couple things off the top. For me, the most anticipated showdown on the men's side, bar none, is the 83s. And I
Yes.
am incredibly intrigued with what is going to happen with Jirens and Ahoro. These guys have a rivalry back and forth. They're like frenemies. They battle on the platform. They're friendly off the platform. They hang out at Worlds before and after they compete. But on the platform, it's all out. And they are close. They're swapping it back and forth. Depending on any given day, either one of them's capable. Ahoro at Worlds came out on top, but Jirens showed a higher top end in different competitions. And Jirens, in prep for this, revealed an 840 kilo training SBD day. 840, which is it's spicy for a guy in his mid-30s, full-time job, got a kid, the whole nine. No excuses on Jirens. What are you guys thinking here? Who takes this? I'm going to throw this around the table for this one.
I just want to add also the lifter nominated fourth, the French lifter. he put up 830 in the gym. So I don't think
What?
yeah. He had a 335 deadlift, a 312 and a half squat, and a 182 and a half bench.
What is going on here? The
So
French are
I
coming on the men's side now, heavy.
yeah, but the thing I with the French men, I'm never going to take their training totals to be anywhere near what they put up, just because it's very. His squat was like an RP 11 lift that I don't know, like I'd probably take at least 10 kilos off the squat and 10 like if he totals 810, it would be a big jump on his best comp total, and I would have that as a great day for him. So I don't think he has the top end of Jurns or but if he has a really good day and Jurns and both don't, then he'll be in the picture. But either way, I think I'll take Jurns here. Just his training total has been really, really good. And while has like the magic weapon of his last pull, at a certain point, like I don't think he can load up like 395 and hit it for the win or whatever it is. Like he's gonna have to put a little bit more on his squat and bench to get closer. Like when he pulled for the win at the last Euros a couple months ago, he pulled 380, but that was only to get an 812 and a half total, I think. So now if Jurns has a good day, I think he's going to be at least mid to upper 820s, if not 830s. So I think Jurns wins. His top end is just definitely the highest of these lifters.
Matt, what are you thinking here, kind sir?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mike. I'll agree. I'm picking Jurns this time. Last time it went the other way, but I'm thinking Jurns is due, and that's my boy. So I'm picking Jurns. Yeah, over Anaharo. The deadlift is just it's hit or miss. We haven't seen enough consistency, or I haven't seen enough consistency out of that third pull. We all know he can load up, but it's just, is he going to hit it? So I'll take Jurns in this one.
Adrienna, is this unanimous on Jurens, or do you have a dissenting opinion? Let's put it this way. Can you steel man case something for Anaharo? Or maybe you don't need to and you actually think he's going to take it?
I would love to paint the picture that it's that Anaharo could pull 400 kilos and take it, but unfortunately, I think Jurens has got it. It's a great rematch at last Euros. I picked Anna, and he came out on top. He gave us a scare on that second deadlift, but he was able to rally back and get that. But I think just with Jurens showing off his training total, I think previously he might have hit 840 or close to 840 in the gym, but he's kind of known to hide his lifts sometimes. And now that he's showing it off, I think that shows confidence in his training. And I think he's got it. And I think the real question is if he goes over the world record or not.
Going to be the follow-up right now then. Let me just say, how impressive was that one-legged kick up that Anaharo did after winning Euros? Might be the most athletic thing I've seen on the platform in all of 2023. The guy's a freak. And I love it. And a hopeless romantic, and I'm a hopeless romantic, would go all in on Anaharo because he is like the miracle man and the whole, to make a movie on this guy. But I think Jurns has to be the favorite due to, 840. What are we doing here? Uh, you know, sizing up away. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna throw it around this because we're not doing all these divisions. We're going brief on this. So let's
Yep.
this is the big key piece on the men's side. So let's milk this one a little bit. Let's go around here. Does Jurens break the world record? We'll start with you, Matt.
No.
Mike,
No,
that was a no.
no.
Adriana.
No, but I want him to.
No. Yeah, frig. I was hoping maybe sort of might have, but he's close, but bringing it to the platform, who knows? What a story it would be though if he did. And then he could be like, hey, come and I'll see you at Worlds, Russell. Although we'll see what Russell does. It's kind of nice that they're both competing in the same week, though. We can compare to an extent, anyways. As we look at the men's, we got a rematch with Tony Cliff in Indy. That's also going to be kind of interesting. I don't know where Tony Cliff is at after Sheffield. His numbers aren't like the Sheffield prep. Sheffield wasn't the competition he wanted. Indy's soaring pretty high. if you guys and you have the nominations up in front of you,
Mhm.
as you look at this, I'm going to ask you each whom you think we need to pay attention to that might surprise us, and if you see an upset that might happen.
Mhm.
And we're doing it for the men's, and we'll go over to the women's in a second. But if you see a potential, and I'm not saying call the upset, I'm saying if an upset's going to happen, this is the one that you foresee a pathway for an upset to happen. Just like we did on the men's PA when it was Big Dev, likely had a pathway. You weren't calling it, but if one was going to happen, you could foresee a pathway for Big Dev. Same deal on the men's Europeans.
I guess if I had to pick one, I would say in the 93s, I think Nathan's training is looking really good. I think if he has a great day, he could potentially win the 93s.
I'm going to say Federico in the 66s, I think, might do it. I'll let you guys.
You think Fred, how do you
The
say it?
66 already happened.
Yeah, he's making a joke. Yeah.
Come
All
on,
right.
I'll bet the
All
house on
right.
it.
All
I'll
right.
bet the house on it.
I guess I'll go. That was kind of
Yeah.
funny. I'll say in the 120s. I think Indy has a path, and it's interesting that it's similar to PA Nats, where same weight class, someone's kind of ahead in Tony, but someone's got a path too, even though he's kind of considered the underdog. So I think Indy's got a path, and I'll add in someone to watch, but I'll let Matt go first. I don't want to steal his thunder.
You're not stealing any thunder. I don't see any upsets on the remainder of the nominations. I think the nominations list, in terms of the winners, are going to hold true to form on the men's side.
So how about some stars or the water cooler talk tomorrow morning? What are we talking about here?
I'll add in the classes that went today were on the men's side 59, 66, 74.
Mhm.
And 59, if we were to do this yesterday, I would say it'd be interesting to see what Ivan puts up if he gets close to the 600 mark that he's hit before. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to. I didn't watch the stream, but I've got the score sheet pulled up. He pulled for it. He tried to pull 265 to get back to that 600 that he hit previously, I believe, at Malta, but he missed it. I don't know why I didn't watch the stream, but he hit 585. And I think this is turning out to be a really interesting battle in the 59s leading into Worlds. We won't get into Worlds preview, of course, but there's Wasker. And then there's a big chunk of lifters kind of around that mark. There's Ivan, there's Ishtiak, who put up a big total in training for reps. There's Kwaku. Don't know if you guys know him, but he's coming
Oh yeah,
over
from
from
Britain.
no,
Oh
Kwaku.
wait,
How do you say his last name? Kwaku. He's my friend. Shout out to him. He's
He's
okay,
coming
wait,
he's
no, I
over.
do. I was
he's
thinking someone else, but
American
yeah, go.
that went to USVI.
He went to
to get the swag.
USVI.
Okay, yeah.
Still a junior. I think he's 20 or 21. Goes to Princeton. Student
Oh, wow.
athlete here, and I don't remember exactly what he told him, but he put up I think 595 the previous competition, and it's not like he has to make a big cut. He kind of sits not close to the class, but it's not like Wasker level. And so I think that'll be a great battle between like 4 or 5 lifters for that podium spot. And Wasker did it. I think he brought the hype to the 59s, like he said he was going to a few years back.
You know, there's a rumor Wasker in between comps, 93 kilos. That's a fact. That's a fact. I seen pictures. It's disgusting. I don't know why he does it. Marcellus needs to charge more. And here's another rumor. Possibly if the Russians come back, not underneath the Russian banner, but underneath whatever. Fedor versus Wasker would be an absolutely titanic showdown, the 59s, and that would elevate the 59 kilo class. That would be the mega showdown. That the 59 kilo class would be elevated, and people, I can't remember the last time we had a mega showdown. We never have had that a showdown like that. And a guy like Wasker, charismatic, amazing backstory. My God, when he came on KOTL and told his story after winning worlds, phenomenal backstory. Um, Good looking guy. He's got the look. He's shredded. He's got smashing big lifts. He's got an online presence. He's got star potential. For him to be back, if he had all he needs is a showdown, he needs an adversary. He needs somebody to play against. And my God, if Fedor came back the GOAT, that'd be it. And with Sheffield on the line, gets no sweeter than that. That would do to the 59s what Penna did to the 66s. But we'll see, because you always need a dance partner when it comes to these things. Like I've said time and time again, no one wants to see like exhibition. You're head to head, and then you win. And here's what I'll just throw this out there on the men's side. I'm interested in what Timur does. He's been smashing weights in prep, and I think he could be put the rest of the world on notice. He's super young, just coming out of the juniors now, getting into the open, and uh, he has a wealth of potential. So he's already over the 1,000 kilo mark. I don't know if he's going to catch up to Jesus, but he's special as well. So let's see what Timur does at the European Championship. Let's take a look at the women's. Unless you guys have any notes for the men's, can we move on to the
I
women's?
just want to add one more thing,
Yep.
just one more thing before we move on to the women's, because this may have flew under the radar. But Owen Hubbard is competing as well, and that's a bit of a blast from the past. He's at the very bottom of your nominations in the 83s, but I would anticipate him coming back and being healthy, and it'll be really interesting. I mean, obviously the battle is between Jerns and Enahara. I think we all know that, but I wouldn't be surprised if Owen makes a strong charge and tries to sneak on the podium in that bronze position against Paul Ramboville from France. So just wanted to give a shout out to Owen. Love him, fiery competitor, been around for a while. For those of you who don't know, he was there at Worlds in 2016, Killeen, Texas, in the legendary showdown between Hack and Gibbs. Owen Hubbard was there, and he has that Bobby Butters type fiery presence, screamer Manuel. If you like people getting hype on the platform, Owen Hubbard brings it. So excited to see him back on the list.
Yep, shout out to Owen. All right, let's move into the women's. And already that's happened. We had Annalisa take the 47s, Cami Hadris from France take the 52s, Cami being the former junior world champion, moving into the open. Alexandra Arenatovic of Serbia coming in silver there. And the 52s, both of those ladies, very competitive, even on the global sense when it comes to the world championships. The 52 kilo class are just stack full of killers. It's crazy what's happening in the 52s lately. But as we move along and we start looking at a bigger global sense of what we have here, I think people that I think we should all be paying attention to. Obviously, Mark Jenner with 543 hasn't fully lived up to that potential, was the wild card at Sheffield. They flew her in. If she can live up to her potential, she could go 550 and up, and she's going to have to. Right now in the 69 kilo class, she's going to have to, because Gara's there and Leah's there, and we both know those guys are killers. But if she's going to go to the World Games, and she wants to, the Americans are coming. Like we already said earlier, the Americans are coming, and she's got to start picking up her feet and actually live up to her full potential. So I'm interested in what Mark Jenner does there, and also in the 63s, Chiara Bernardi. As we've already said, 63 is wide open now. It's open for business, and Chiara's she's got an opportunity here, not just to potentially take a world title, and that'd be tough. Meg Scanlon, and we'll see what Celine the Machine ends up. But Chiara's young and she has potential, but also World Games qualifier, and who knows in terms of Sheffield wild cards, etc. When they're looking for showdowns. So there's a couple that jump out at me. What jumps out at you guys when you look at that, or do you want to add on to any of those? I mean, were you surprised
For
to see
me, the
Sunita
thing I'm
on
most
there?
excited,
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
yeah, the most excited I'm to watch is the 84s, you have the two British young lifters. You have Zayana and Erlov. They both have like massive deadlifts. I mean, Erlov pulled I think it was 260 at the British selections comp, and they're both like have like the same totals. I think 581 and 582. They're literally neck and neck, and I think they're both making like good progress. So I assume they're both going to make it to the British Worlds team, and they probably will be like at that point favorites to come second and third in the class. And they're both like closing in on Amanda's deadlift. So that I'm really excited to watch. And then also just again, like you mentioned, see what Marte Jenner does. Like her trainings looked good, but it's often looked good before comp, and it hasn't necessarily translated. So I don't know that it means that she's going to hit a PR here. And then Chiara Bernardi's total training looks really good. So I think she's probably going to come in as the second favorite after whichever American wins. So that's what I'm specifically looking forward to on the women's side.
The thing with Earl Love, and I think she's a talent to watch. I think she'd alluded to an injury in one of her last videos. And I remember being excited to see what she would do. Because she's young, she's crazy athletic and talented, and and definitely somebody to watch. And I agree, she's going to start closing in on 600 kilos, and who knows where she could take it. But I'm pretty sure she alluded to an injury in one of her videos, in the squat video. And I'm not sure how it's 200 kilos she's squatting. So she's still strong for sure. And I don't know how serious it is, if she's going to bounce back or whatever. But I don't know. But I agree. Her freaking deadlift is phenomenal. She's strong all around. You guys pulling up that video right now, huh?
I guess I'll add in too with the 63s that we can't sleep on Sarah Naldi. I think this is going to be a big battle
That's
between them. Even though Sarah's a little bit behind on total, she previously went up to the 69s. I think kind of to get away from Carola Gara maybe. But now Carola, as we know, is staying in the 69s. She's come back down. And these two have a great rivalry. I remember they first competed at, I believe it was 2021 Junior Worlds, and we were like, whoa, like who are these guys? They're totaling near 500 kilos, and that was the big mark at the time. And since then, they've really developed as phenomenal lifters, and they've had a ton of showdowns. I can't speak on the Italian showdowns because I don't watch their nationals, or I don't watch all their nationals, but they've showdown at Junior Worlds. They showdown at 2022 Open Worlds. They showdown at 2022 Euros. And I think every time Chiara has come out on top on the international stage, don't quote me on that, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm just excited to see Sarah come back down and give Chiara a good battle there, and we'll see what happens.
I'll second that. I checked it. You know what? I second that. I checked out Sarah's training. She's been doing. She hasn't posted a lot, but a stitch back, she's been hitting some big numbers. But she doesn't post a heck of a lot. And also, I want to throw in there. I bet you Mike doesn't miss one of the Italian nationals. That's how hardcore Mike is in terms of the powerlifting. He watches them all.
I'll say too. Some of them. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying I have watched some of them.
Yeah, I'll say too that
I knew it.
I've watched a few, but not everyone. I need to step it up. I need to watch every single nationals. I don't care what country it's. I need to be on the lookout. Even bench only. But
sorry, go ahead,
with Sarah too. It could be interesting to see. I don't know exactly how the team selection works for Italy, but with Carola staying in the 69s, we could see both of them at Worlds in the 63s, assuming they have an alternate spot. Not sure about that, but we could see both of them, kind of a throwback to 2022 when we had Megan, Chiara, Sarah, and then I believe someone else, but I don't remember her name, all battling in the 63s without Leah or Carola there. So
I remember
preview.
I remember when Sarah Kiara, and Corolla were all 63s. And I remember talking to somebody like at an American Nationals, and I remember somebody goes, I was like, yeah, like if she goes through, I forget who it was at the time, but I was like, yeah, if she goes through, she's got a good chance of worlds. And some guy was like, some random dude was like, yeah, but there'll be some freaking Italian waiting for her, and God knows, man, those, those like the Italians in the 63s. It was like a bottleneck of talent. But I am glad they're kind of spreading out a little bit, but they are so world class. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see because it's a preview, man. We're real close. In the same weekend, we got PA Nats and we got Europeans, and we'll see where they end off at the national level. And for the Europeans, it's international level. What are you thinking there, Matt?
I don't have anything to add other than the fact that I anticipate Mergier from France breaking the bench world record.
Oh yeah,
She's
that's
done
true.
it. She's pressed more than the world record. She did it at Girl Power in France last year. So of course it didn't count, but now this is the perfect opportunity to do that. So I fully anticipate that she'll break the bench world record in the 84 plus. Yeah, and that's it to add.
And
Easy dub for Sonita. She can coast.
yeah, are you guys surprised, Sunita? I was just about to ask. I'm glad you brought her up. Are you guys surprised that she's doing this?
No, I think she just wants to add it to her resume, honestly. She doesn't have to go all out. She doesn't have to total over 700. Kind of what she did at the last Euros just a few months ago. I don't remember what she totaled, but I think she even ended up winning best lifter. So she could try for that again, not go all out, save herself for Worlds,
Yeah,
she
collect another title.
Yeah, she totaled 675 at the more recent Euros. So I mean, she can essentially do the same thing and another feather in her cap.
gotcha. Okay. Let's move into because this is our March Madness. We'll move into the UK Classic, the Arnold Classic UK. Sorry, and Agatha Shitko is back. Joy Namani, Bobby Butters, Listus, who's looking phenomenal. What are you guys anticipating here? Obviously, we're thinking Agatha Shitko is the heavy favorite. For anyone listening, this is going to be based on GL points. And Agatha, in terms of the nominations, 116.71. We're talking 5 points ahead of Joy Namani, but these are all killers. I think Listus is somebody we need to watch out for. She's young, incredibly strong. If you've ever met her in real life, humbling is a word I would describe it. You will feel humbled if you meet Listus. There are special people walking around, athletic people, and when you meet Listus, it's like meeting one of the Avengers in real life. Okay, there's levels to this game, and she's on a different level than most humans. And I want to see what she does. Incredibly strong. Her training's been going very well. Let me throw this out here for a question, a roundtable question that I like to do. Over or under 600 kilos for Agatha? And let's assume she might not be cutting. She might just come in. So let's say she's not training as hard, but she's also a little heavier. If that helps, if that sways you at all. Because I don't think she's going to cut like she did for Sheffield. Mike?
I'll say under.
Adrienna?
I'll say under, but I could see her going over because she's like that.
I mean,
Matt?
usually before usually before these meets, like you see her training, she posts like everything and like she's like pushing it pretty hard and it doesn't look like she's pushed as hard coming into this meet. So it's possible that she can just still go out there and do it, but I would assume it's probably gonna be a little more chilled. She's going for the cash prize. Like her job is powerlifting. She wants to do like 8 meets a year and just go and collect cash prizes. That's what she basically said. So yeah, I don't.
Matt, what do you think?
Under, and she doesn't need it. She doesn't need a 600 kilo total to still win on GL points. So I say under.
What do you guys anticipate from Joy Namani?
It's
A
hard
massive
to say.
deadlift.
Yeah, right. A massive deadlift. It's hard to say, she's just recently in 63, not cutting anymore, added a belt, some different variables. in her
Right.
training, but she doesn't show a lot. She plays a lot close to her vest. I mean, but she's an unbelievable lifter who's won world championships in multiple weight classes. So I would anticipate a strong performance. And I would also anticipate Bobby Butters taking a shot at reclaiming her squat world record. Her squat training has looked really good. And why not? This is the place to do it. Jacob just took it at Sheffield. And I would expect if Bobby is feeling good for her to take a shot at taking it back.
Is it possible that Joy Namani takes the deadlift world record at 63 kilos, 231 from Leah Babor?
Yeah, she will. For sure. What I was going to say is at Worlds, actually, her third deadlift, which I thought should have counted but didn't, that would have been the world record for the 69s also. So now it got pushed because Agatha pulled the 248 at Sheffield, but she took 240 and a half on her third at Worlds. I think she's going to shatter if she wants. It depends on like placing, whether she is conservative on placing. But I think she already pulled more than that at her last meet, and she had more there. So I think she's capable of like probably 240. So yeah, I think she'll shatter it.
She has two different weight classes, right? She's got 52, 57. She's never taken the 63 yet, right?
Not yet.
So this is an opportunity for her to take a world record deadlift in three different weight classes.
Yeah.
And she'll lift before the Agatha in them in the 69. She might be able to outlift the 69 kilo weight class at Worlds. Well, it depends on, we don't know how. I haven't even looked at the world team for Great Britain and whatnot, so maybe I won't get ahead of myself. But yeah, okay. Well, there we go. Anything else you guys will glean for storylines looking at the women's before we go on to the men's?
I think I'm just really excited to see kind of what all of them do. Like Joy, we never see her training. She recently moved up. I guess I'm just interested in seeing where she weighs after moving up to the 63s. And this is a meet based on good lift points. So I believe they can weigh in whatever they want. So I think it'd be, I don't know if the placings go, or if the money prizes go by placing. I would assume it does. So I think it could be a really tight battle between the three, Joy, Bobby, and Listis, just depending on what everyone weighs. Like if Bobby wants to, I know she sits above 57. If she wants to cut a little bit, then she could be really close to Joy, even though Joy's presumably totaling more, but sitting at the higher weight class. And I think with Joy too, since we don't see her training, it'll just be like really interesting to see where she's at, because I mean, last year she competed at Sheffield, that's 57, right? She comes into Worlds as a 63, doesn't have a lot of time. She didn't add a ton to her total. She totaled 505 at Worlds, where she totaled 500.5 at Sheffield. But like Mike said, she missed that last deadlift, which would have given her 15 kilos. And it was close. It wasn't like strength. It was like a up and down call or something. And that would have given her 520.5 kilos. So she could be in the mix there for, I don't know about world title, but maybe the podium at Worlds, kind of shades to Kiara, Megan, or Celine. So I'm just excited to see what she does. And then also Listis just seems like a phenom, like only been competing since 2021, and her training's looking great. I think she'll cross over that 600 kilo mark easily. I think she'll hit somewhere between 610 and 620 or so. And she's a super heavyweight, but she's a light super heavyweight. She only weighs about 95 kilos. So, and I think she's still a junior. I think she's either still a junior or just aged out. So I'm excited to see what she does. And I think if she totals around that 610, 620 mark, that it'll be a good battle for the podium between the three.
How about this? If I was managing Joy, I would say weigh slightly over 63 kilos. I don't care if you drink water. So you're 69. Break the deadlift world record. So now you got three. You gonna say something, Mike?
Yeah, no, Agata already pushed it. It was 240, but now it's 248. So I don't think she's pulling
Ah,
248.
darn
Yeah.
it. 248 is
That's
too
why
much.
at Worlds, I mean,
Darn
Worlds,
it.
she loaded it. She loaded the 69 record at Worlds and it went up and
Here's the
whatever.
thing. It could have been, uh, I guess she would have had to do it at the last Euros. I wanted official 4 records in 4 weight classes. It's too late though. Agata ruined everything.
Agata wants that on bench. Agata wants the 84 plus bench.
Right, because
Agata,
she's got three divisions, right?
Yeah.
69, 76, 84 on bench.
yeah, Agata said she's gonna go 84 plus in her life. Because I remember asking her, "You staying 76? You doing all these pictures like flexing and whatever? Like, are you digging this? Are you gonna stay like this?" She was going 84 plus at some point in my life. Like, I don't. I'm like, she's like, "Oh yeah." Oh my God, she does not care. I'm like, well, your subtotal will be phenomenal. But anyways, let's look at the men's. Obviously, Shell is a massive favorite. Money Mo is back, and he's for the longest time facing some injuries, has some cramping issues, etc. But his deadlift is phenomenal, and he's saying 900 plus for a total. I think he's probably going to be good for it. Quick question though, as we look at this, Shell Backlund, 800 kilos and up. I'm going to swing this around the table. Matt, let's start with you, kindness of sirs.
Yes. Yep. I think he just crosses the 800 threshold. I think we're talking about small PBs in each discipline or in one or two disciplines. So I'm, minimal, but over.
Mike?
I agree. I think he passes it. I was looking at his training. I wonder if, since this is not a weight class thing, if he just like weighs in at like 77 or something.
That's a really
Mm,
good point. Yeah. So maybe.
I
Yeah.
think he probably weighs in at like 77 and totals like 805, 810, something like
Yeah.
that. That's what I'd guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
interesting.
Yeah.
He told me
Yeah.
he's short, but he cuts. He cuts quite a bit actually. He's on the podcast. He's like, no,
Yeah.
I cut. He's a big 74.
Yeah. And
Um,
no reason for him to weigh 74. He does. Yeah. So
doesn't need it.
sorry. Good catch, Mike.
What do you think,
Yeah.
Adriana? Now that you had this same question, over 800 or lower than 800?
I think over, and I think it's even more probable if he weighs in a little above, or he could, kind of knowing that Austin's coming over, probably going to blow the total out of the water. Um, he could try to weigh in at 74 and kind of say, hey, maybe if I was at Sheffield, because he was a reserve, but he didn't get to lift. Maybe if I was
Mhm.
at Sheffield, I could have been in contention for the top spot. Because only 3 men at Sheffield broke the world record. So potentially if
You're
he
right.
was competing, he could have been in that conversation.
You guys both make excellent points. I see motivation for both. I see motivation for let's just have fun. Why cut? Let me just see how strong. Let me get as big as strong as I can be and just see how big of a note total I have. And I also see motivation for I should have been there. That should have been me. That was my world record you guys are going for. Austin's coming. Austin's going to take this record for a ride. Let me see how far I could throw this record before Austin comes. Before Austin comes and does his damage, this is the pre-Austin era, and him just pushing it as far as he can as well. I can see motivation for both. Interesting. Anything else you think we should look for on the men's?
Yeah, so the second nomination, the British 83, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Adi Amisakin. His trainings looked really good. He's put up like PRs in the gym on every lift, like with more on every lift, and he already has an 800 kilo total at 83.2, so basically 83. So if his gym lifts translate to the platform, which they look like they will because they're pretty good standard, he could be pushing like to right close to where Jurgens is. Like he can total like around the 820, which is where Jurgens is sitting. So Great Britain has another 83 that's like getting kind of close to him.
How old is he? 98.
So he's like 25, 26, something like that. And then also the other thing I'll be interested in watching is Sanchez Dillon. If he can break Christoph's deadlift world record, that would be pretty cool because that I think might be the longest standing record in the IPF.
Yeah, he's got a 387.5. Is that the longest standing in the APF? Oh my goodness.
It's one of them. 2000. It's early. Well, no, you've got Berglund has got a bench in there from a while back in 18 before the rule change, and you've also got the Kevin Gray with the squat Australia. Anyway, but it's one of the older ones. I mean, where's Bicky's deadlift has been there for a minute, so.
You know, I'm interested now. We've got quite a few 83s that have crossed over 800 kilos that are starting to. We have a new rush coming. That this weekend's going to be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. Also at UK nominated in third is Yanis from France. And I mean, he's nominated just he's also an 83. He's nominated just 5 kilos behind Ade. So kind of Britain versus France there, kind of a little mini weight class battle between them, even though it is based on good lift points. Still shades of that. I believe Yanis placed like third at one Worlds. Oh, he placed fourth at Malta. So he's there, and it'll be interesting to see the battle between them. I mean, if Ade's made a ton of progress, and I haven't looked at Yanis's training, then maybe it's not too much of a battle, but it's still fun to see whenever an 83 crosses that 800 barrier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool if Ade starts developing into like a major threat as well. Globally, the 83s have caught up. For a little while there, it was just like America, and it was all the Americans. But in the last few years, holy smokes, as the rest of the world really started catching up in the 83s. And this weekend, we're going to see a bunch of them compete. So we got to pay attention. Anything else there? I mean, we've done 3 hours. You guys, I honestly, when I was first talking to Matt, I'm like, Matt, I'm traveling like crazy. Let's just do like 45 minutes. We'll do a quick March Madness. We'll just do a little bit of highlights, man. And then and Matt's like, I'm so busy. I got you, man. Let's just do 45. Let's do a quick 45. I'm like, let's do it. And then I'm like, hey, let's bring in Adrienna. What let's see what happens. She's gonna know her stuff, whatever. And then she's like, let's bring in Mike. This thing started getting big. This party started. All of a sudden, everybody's bringing friends, and we're 3 hours later. We go division to division, like we said we weren't going to. It is what it is. It's a mega podcast. I got to freaking and right now because of my work, I'm at like a lakeside house that I'm like renting. This isn't my place. The Wi-Fi is terrible. I don't know if I froze a couple times. I think I did, but I gotta like go to a freaking Tim Hortons and download this and drop this like it's hot tonight because this is old news real quick if I don't get it out. But anyways, listen, guys, I appreciate the hell out of you guys hopping on here. All three of you, with like super duper minimal notice. You guys came in here. I'm glad you guys already have a podcast. I knew you guys were going to know anyways. The fact that you guys had a podcast, I knew you'd probably already be researched. And then when I dropped on you the March Madness idea, I knew you probably knew the heavy hitters anyways. So it wasn't going to be all that crazy. Like, I don't know any of these Europeans. You'll have known some of the Europeans. And you guys watch the Italian Nationals, for God's sake. so so anyways, I appreciate you guys hopping on here like this. We got to do this again. We'll do some preview shows, recap shows, and even like powerlifting news in general. Something pops off, let's hop on here and talk about it. Rule change, new announcement, let's hop on here and discuss. Or some even some debates in terms of like who's the greatest in this, that, and the other. And another one, I'm gonna throw out here. I don't know how you guys powerlifting history is, but I've been looking for a challenger for Matt Gary. And you got to come correct on this one. because Matt was putting people. The only one who could beat Matt was Matt when he started guessing wrong and started losing points. If he just stopped when he just kept going to have fun because he wanted to know the answer. But Mike, how's your powerlifting history, sir?
I got one right that nobody got on the trivia one. The Don Reinhardt one.
Oh,
I knew
right.
the 1973. I knew that one. That was other than that. I mean, I knew plenty of them, but the other people knew. Like I wouldn't have won. That was just the one that I knew that nobody else got right.
If I assembled three more people, maybe four, in the winner, and like I have a couple rounds of this. I need to find another show with new people in all the winners together, and they're going to go against Matt. Would you be comfortable being there? You think you could hang in there, or what do you think?
Yeah.
I was going to say, all right, because you had your chest out in the stories, so and I was hoping you hoping you raised your hand now. If you got shy on me, I don't know, man. It's not really my thing. Good, man. Good. I'm glad. And I'll grab some people. I'll grab some people I think could maybe go some rounds around because I was like pretty popular. People really like that freaking Jeopardy show. So we'll do it again and we'll see if somebody can go with Matt. Or do you think you'll be at the World Championships by chance, Mike?
I'm not sure yet. It's not
All right.
my favorite location for vacation, but
What?
we'll see.
Lithuania?
But
I got a cottage house there too.
Lithuania? Did you really?
If I know, hell no. I'm gonna try to it'd be amazing if I could do this in person. But anyways, we'll chat offline. Thank you guys. Let everybody know how they could like get a hold of your podcast and the whole nine too.
Yeah, so you could just find it at Future of Powerlifting on Spotify or on YouTube. And that's where the podcast is.
There it is. And everybody listening, please do subscribe, give us high ratings as per usual. And until next time, six pack Lapadat, six up, and we are out.